Yes, welcome back to another edition of the Ohno Wrestling Podcast, the first of 2023. And hell, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. What a great way to get things started, because we have, it's not only 2023, but we got all three people here with us finally. Yes, that's right. My name is Owen. I am your Sharpray Kid. And along with me this evening is not only the modern day Maharaja Matthew, but our fair predictions champion just decided to finally show back up on the scene. The King of Bong Style, Duncan, is here. Duncan, welcome back, sir.
I'm afraid I've got some bad news. And that's it. I'm fucking back, bitches.
Listen here, bruv. Listen here, bruv. Bruv. Yeah, bruv, you're working the Brock Lesnar schedule, bruv.
I tell you what, he hasn't even got to hear the
Sunshine.
Yeah, he hasn't got to hear my when I go into my William Regal and
so good.
Start calling everybody Sunshine and don't worry about it, Buttercup. You'll learn about all of it later. That being said,
Man in the Mask.
It's been a couple weeks since we've done a wrestling show, so lots to discuss. We've got Wrestle Kingdom right on the cusp of us in just a few hours. I can't wait to watch that one on repeat. Not staying up for that one. Just gonna go ahead and say that. But I will be signing up for New Japan World, as they are giving us a month free, and you know, able to watch both nights of Wrestle Kingdom. So if you haven't done that already, just go ahead and sign up as a new user for New Japan World, which is pretty cool that they're doing that, obviously, to get a ton more eyes on the product, knowing that they're going to get a lot of American interest, I would assume, you know, like with obviously Kenny going over in the big match with Will Osprey. So, really kind of looking forward to that. And we'll start. We won't dive into all of that just yet. What we will dive into is something that kind of ended your year, Matthew, and you actually got the chance to go to last week's Dynamite, did you not?
I did indeed, and it was a good time. Took my good brother Dan, he's been to local wrestling shows here. Danimal, you know him, Duncan, but
Dan the man.
Exactly. So he's been to
Owen
some
knows him. Owen met him.
Owen met him too. Yeah.
Fucking Farva.
Yeah, he went to some Rocky Mountain Pro shows out here with me and had a good time. And I was like, man, you got to come see one live, And so I talked to him about it when I was getting tickets a while ago. And he's like, as long as I'm not out of town, I'm fucking there, man. And so we talked about it, and he went. We had a great time. I got super lucky because the tickets I got, I forgot they went on sale, like when they did in October, and I had told myself I was going to remember,
right?
And it said, don't set a reminder or an alarm. You'll be fine. You got it right up here, right? And of course, 3 hours after they went on sale, I'm
never forgets, but scared of mice.
Yeah, right. So I went. And I got tickets, and I got 2 tickets, and they were second row in the 100s. So not bad seats by any means, not right? But it's always fun if you could be a little closer, and so I was watching tickets, just on resale for leading up to it for the months, and I was like, man, these are fucking ridiculously expensive. I'm not paying that amount of money, So and I'm happy with the seats I have. They're actually great seats. You're like right above the floor, like got that angle, kind of a straight on, and so I'm watching it the week before, the day before, and there were tickets that were right on the front corner, and they were front row tickets, and someone had them for like $3.90 or something like that a piece on StubHub, and I was like, there's no way those are gonna sell, right?
Yeah, no.
So day of, they went down to 300, and then and I kept watching. If they didn't sell, I knew that as you got closer to the event, they were just going to try and
they were going to panic.
Those.
Yeah.
Yep. And so we were going. So I kept watching, but the thing was, I didn't want to sell my tickets and then lose tickets. Right, this whole thing. So,
right, and then not have any at all.
Yeah. So the show, quote unquote, started at 5 out here. I sent you guys, I think, a video or a picture of Brody. And so like they had a couple of matches. We caught that last match before everything started, but doors were at 4 and they were at 295 at like 355. And then I checked at 4 and they were 275. And then I checked at 410 and they were 200. And then I checked at 415 and they were down to like that 125, 130. And I was like, all right, let's do it. I called Dan and I was like, are you cool with this? Do you want to do it? You know? And I was like, I'm going to sell all our other tickets. You know, I was like, I don't know if they'll sell. It's late in the game. Let's see, you know? If anything, I'll eat your other ticket, you know? And so I bought them. And then as we were walking in, he's like, did the tickets sell? I was like, no, they hadn't sold yet. And then I opened my phone. I was like, oh yeah, they sold. Sweet.
Awesome.
Yeah, so it all worked out.
This is not the first time that you've done this either. I feel like Matthew does this all the time, where he gets tickets to a show, then's like, I want the better ones, and then he goes and gets better seats.
Come on, yeah. I mean, and wrestling comes here but once a year.
Listen, if he
didn't you do that at Mania?
If we know Matthew, Oh yeah, definitely did that at Mania. That's the thing, is like if you can't get the good seats right off the jump, then
make sure you got tickets to get in, because I'm gonna go regardless.
Keep an eye.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch. Yeah.
Right. And then you'll use that Canadian magic.
Yeah. Canadian magic.
That's what it's all about. That's what it's all
that
about.
Might be one
ask Chris Jericho.
I think it is.
Yeah. So I always like going to shows, of course, with somebody that's never been to a major wrestling promotion show, to get their kind of vibe and like what they gravitated towards and what they didn't. Like, what was it like with Dan? What did he enjoy, and what popped him the most?
So he obviously didn't understand the storylines. What didn't pop him was the chick sitting next to him and her boyfriend, who were talking to him the entire time. And like, oh, no. this, and he just flat out said a couple of times, he's like, listen, I know nothing about this. This is my first time here. I've never watched this, you know, I don't know, you know, and they're like, oh, well, we watch every week and we know this story and that, blah, 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 blah. And
it's like, great, shut the fuck up.
Yeah. That kind of ticked him off. But I would say, you know, the 6-man tag, that one really popped him once they actually came out, you know. Seeing some of the stuff with Mox worked like fucking triple duty that night. Came out 3 different times. You know, and I also did hear that they actually had a different like lineup for that event, but a bunch of the wrestlers got stuck in Buffalo and like other places because of the weather.
Yep.
And so like some of those people couldn't be there. But I will say, for having rewritten that and dealt with some stars that you didn't have, good show. Probably the best live wrestling show, and I'm including WWE, that I've seen in Colorado,
in Denver,
except maybe Goldberg's return, right, Duncan? And
how do you really top that?
Yeah, right. But that might actually be second, just because that was actually probably a fairly okay Raw, and it wasn't a draft. But yeah, no, that was like the really,
last non-draft Raw.
Yeah. He did pop a lot for Jade Cargill.
Really? Okay, cool.
Yeah, and that match, he was super stoked on that. Yeah, the stuff and like the stuff with Mox, he just really like vibed with that. But overall, he really liked it and said, you know, I can really see when you come live. Like, I don't know if I would watch every week, but I would definitely come to another live event.
It's part of the spectacle too, right? I mean, it's a little different with AEW, but I still think like the production rig's impressive. I still think it's really cool to see all of that stuff live, like kind of how it works. And then you were blessed probably because, you know, it's been forever since AEW's been to Denver or Colorado. Like, that crowd from TV seemed really hot. Crowd seemed really hot, really, really good crowd. And then you did get,
was it up at First Bank or was it
First Bank?
So First Bank.
So yeah, like you got, you know, on top of that, you got a 6-man tag with, you know, another one of this, you know, the 6 of this 7 series with Death Triangle, the Elite. And I was worried. I remember texting you at one point. I'm like, oh boy, this is a falls count anywhere match. I hope they eventually do at least get to the rings. Like Matthew gets to see the Elite Death Triangle and half of it's backstage.
I also kept telling Dan on the way to the event, and then right before that, I just said, you're going to see two of the coolest fucking intros ever.
Yeah.
Get ready. Are you fucking ready? I was so amped because, Owen, I've been telling you for how long? I love Death Triangle.
Yeah, you do.
Fucking, I love their entrance so fucking much. I was so excited for that. And I was so excited to see the Elite entrance, you know.
The Wayward Son entrance. All that.
And I feel like we didn't get that Wayward Son, like, hit, really. But overall, I'm glad they actually came out. I was wondering if they were actually going to make it out.
You know, talking about that, I had questions just like because there was action in so many different places. And then even with that finish, you know, because you had Pac on it with a submission on Matt Jackson in the ring. And then, of course, Kenny off to the side with Phoenix doing his thing with that one wing angel through the table. Was it confusing at the moment, like who won, like, or was it pretty clear? Like, were you able to see enough of everything, even though it was like in random places? Were you able, like, or was that a little distracting? Like, kind of like, where do I look?
For the most part, it was kind of a where do you look, and also because of our seats being right there. It'd be interesting to ask that. Jay Jansen was there from the group on Facebook. He was actually two rows behind us, like 2 seats over. So he was like third row, same section. He was dressed as Brandon Cutler in that like tie-dye zebra.
Yes.
Thing. Yeah.
The tracksuit. He's a tracky boy like me. I like it.
He's a tracky boy, yeah. But yeah, it was kind of tough, but I would just look up at the screen to see what they were showing on TV because I knew that was part of the story that they were telling because that's what they're focusing on. I don't know if everyone else did that. Sometimes for me, it was easier to look at it in the ring because it was, or outside of the ring because it was just right there in front of me. That finish, though, I was kind of wondering. So as soon as you saw Kenny come up, everyone kind of looked over. And you saw that happening, I just assumed 2 things very quickly. Kenny won, or they were going to do like a tiebreaker or something, you know?
Right, it was
keep it going or something like that. Like it had both referees counted at the same time or something. But that would have had to have been too choreographed. But it was kind of confusing, especially right around the ring because the wrestlers, you know, played their part of being confused, right?
Sure.
As to what happened. But the crowd caught on pretty quick.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as you heard the music, I guess too, right? That solves it. And yeah, like there was so much going on, but that's just also a testament to, you know, like all 6 wrestlers in that match. Like I was like at the beginning of this whole best of 7 thing. How do they keep it interesting week after week after week after week? We get a break from it this week to you know, because Kenny's in Japan, obviously. But you know, we've got you know, the final one to end it all, and I gotta say, I've been really impressed. I've been really impressed, and I feel like, man, is 7 gonna even be enough at the end of the day, right? Like it.
And this one's a ladder match, right? Like the next one.
Well, what do they call it? It's that Mexican name.
Escalera de la Muerte.
Yeah. From what I hear, it's more or less it's kind of a TLC match, I think, is the general idea.
But a TLC match is just a ladder match with tables and chairs.
Yeah, exactly. So it's more or less that.
You know what I mean? Like a TLC match, like, yeah. So it's that sort of, who did the Bucks do this against? Or maybe it was the Lucha Brothers, because there's been one other Escalera de la Muerte.
Yes.
You know what I mean? There was,
I feel like
and it might have been the Bucks against.
I think it was it the Bucks and not Death Triangle,
the Bucks and Lucha Brothers
and Lucha Brothers, yeah.
Would make sense. It would make sense.
I'm pretty sure.
So.
I'm gonna Google it, but I'm almost positive.
So with it being a ladder match as well, obviously, like the titles are on the line at this match, like, right? Like it's not
correct.
It's not whoever wins this gets a title shot. It's who, yeah.
No, it's whoever wins this is the champion. So I would think that the belts will be hung above the ring.
All three of them, you would assume, right?
And it'll be like yeah. Well, they'll just do like they'll probably have a like some sort of a rig system for them. Where it's like 1 point. Like WWE
like
did
the
with
hanger.
the two belts.
They've got the
hung on
hanger. They do the hanger thing now.
Yeah.
That's yeah. You can buy those, by the way. That's like something that they sell at their shop. Is that like gold hanger thing? I'm like, I'm not sure why. I guess if I was a belt collector, right, it would be kind of cool way to display them, I suppose.
Maybe you do that and you play in a band. You can play it as a triangle.
Oh, true.
I mean, if you could play it as a triangle, yeah, but I mean, like, what are you going to do? I'm going to hang a point in the living room and I'm just going to hang the fucking the belts, like,
I mean, if you had a mansion, I guess it would be pretty cool, and like a super awesome like game room. You have a ladder set up, and you know what I mean. You have the belts hanging there. That would look cool.
That's who gets control of the music.
Yeah.
August 31st, 2019. It was Young Bucks and Lucha Bros. At All Out.
Okay.
That was the De La Muerte match.
Gotcha. So yeah, they'll be doing another one of those on live, free TV, which is kind of crazy. I mean, I think they've already announced that, right? It's not on a pay-per-view. They're not waiting.
The next pay-per-view is a ways out.
It's a ways out, exactly. So it's got to be. I think it's on.
It's not Battle of the Belts.
It might be. I feel like whatever it is, it's not tomorrow. It'll be like the 11th or whatever the date is. Like
Well, and this kind of brings me to, and I don't know if it's okay. I'll let the captain see if I can like spin the wheel this way for a second, but still kind of stay on course.
Sure.
This was the last, as we've heard, last iteration of that stage setup that I saw that we've seen since forever, since we all saw it. Remember, when we were out in Vegas,
since the inception,
the inception out at Double or Nothing, and so, I'm wondering. What did you guys think about kind of the new promo package that aired with kind of the new colors and lasers and such? And what do you think is going to be different? Or what would you like to be different? Like, what would you hate and what would you like about a new setup?
I think that I don't want to see them get rid of the tunnels. I think that they redesign the tunnel idea. I think that's probably coming.
Yep.
There have been a couple of shots that have leaked even today on Twitter from somebody that's like been in the building where this new set is obviously going up for the first time. And it's very hard to tell much of anything, but you don't see any tunnels yet. So I really hope they don't get rid of that. I really hope they don't. But what is glaringly obvious is how big of a screen, sort of what people joke is the Tonytron instead of the Titantron.
The Tonytron
going up, behind where the tunnels would be on the stage. I guess what my thoughts are, I didn't hate any of the promo videos with the new colors and everything. I guess I'm just skeptical. I don't want it to become too WWE. I want it to most certainly have its own identity. And what I would really like more than anything is to give Dynamite and Rampage more of a separate identity, having a way of a different color scheme or some sort of I know they're often recorded in the same building on the same night more times than not, but giving them a slightly different identity to differentiate the shows, I think would be helpful at this point for Rampage as well.
Yeah. I mean, I guess they could get creative and do something, I guess, at the top of the ramp, like roll something out, take something away, just to add a little bit of a difference. But I guess colors would definitely help. It's interesting that you said that about the Raw or SmackDown. The lasers, a lot of them are red and blue on that, which I did notice that. I do wonder, do you guys think they just had run the course in these 3 years, or do you think, with that setup, or do you think that because of what happened with Turner and I forget whatever, the whole corporation thing and Discovery or whatever, that whole thing. Do you think some of the
Warner Discovery,
are listen, if you want to, we know this is a thing, we're cutting costs or doing this, that, and the other, we're changing programming, this new people are in charge. We need you to change something and step it up a little bit.
I'll put my nerd hat on here for a second because I've read a little bit about about this and have a loose understanding of kind of the deals going on with Warner Brothers and Discovery. What I think that is more likely, first off, they're quite happy, I believe, with what AEW delivers for its weekly television as far as ratings and numbers. I think they're very happy with that, and I think that they are, wrestling is notoriously fairly cheap to execute in comparison to a lot of other TV shows. So I don't know that it's necessarily Warner Brothers saying step it up a notch, but what I think it is more of AEW stepping it up a notch to command a bigger rights fee when the negotiations come up basically later this year.
Okay.
That's my thought on it. There's been a lot of people with doom and gloom and, sort of looking at ratings and what have you, as far as, like we know the Rampage ratings have been down, but Dynamite still it's maintained, and WWE's ratings have gone up pretty substantially, since the Triple H, kind of takeover. But Variety put out an interesting report a week or so ago that basically says it lists TNT, TBS, and USA as loser networks. As erosion continues and they continue to downsize, their presence continues to fade. For the first time in years, TNT and TBS both slipped below an average of 1 million viewers in prime time, with TNT down to 965,000 from 1.09 million and TBS to 875,000 from 1.03 million. USA has slipped to 738,000 from 848,000. So the argument here, though, is that this basically makes wrestling more valuable to the networks because the numbers that they do are above their typical primetime numbers. You can't really throw Rampage in there by that same argument because Rampage is on at 10 o'clock Eastern time. It's far from prime time, right? On Friday.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if anything, this is more incentive for cable networks, even when they continue to downsize, even when they continue to go through layoffs, perhaps, and, get more strict with budgets. I think it does make wrestling even more valuable than before because it's a cheaper product to execute and produce than, say, fucking Yellowstone over on FX or a huge big budget series, because you have
that just got canceled.
Did it get canceled? Yellowstone?
Did the dude quit because of his wife? And she gave him the main actor.
I thought
I don't know.
That's what
she
I
gave
read.
him she was like, dude, you got to quit this shit. It's taking up too much time. Although I will say, wrestling related to that show, my friend Kim, went off on me about how good this show Yellowstone was. And I was like, I don't know. I was like, there's a lot of wrestling during the week to watch.
Yeah.
I got a lot of wrestling to watch, And she was like, Matthew, it's not real. And I was like, Kim, Yellowstone's not real, right?
Exactly.
I was like, fucking shut up. I get it. Like, it's scripted. I know. I love it. Can't I love it? You love Yellowstone.
But what's the difference
care.
between...
There's no difference.
Yeah, and what's the difference between you watching wrestling, her watching Yellowstone, or somebody watching sports all the fucking time?
Exactly.
Eat a dick. It's fine.
Eat a dick. We can all like what we want. But I thought it was kind of funny and point it to the Yellowstone thing. But
No,
I would like to hear Duncan.
It's not real.
Yeah. God. Sorry, that was directed at Kim. But I was gonna say, Duncan, I want your
what's your opinion
on their what you would like to see or what you wouldn't like to see?
In my mind, everything I see just kind of reminds me of remember my Joey Ryan shoes? The purple and the hot pink and the blue
lasers, 80s,
everything. I'm just like, are we going with a full Vice City sort of theme on
Tony's
this?
like, I do enough coke, I want to dress like that backstage.
Yeah.
This is what I'm saying. Yeah, so let's go cocaine chic for everything.
Right. He did kind of say
it could
instead
work.
of a chandelier, it's a disco ball.
I think it was an interview today that he said that he is looking at making this presentation a more sports-like presentation with, kind of what they originally set out to do with the original AEW, which never really came to transpire. The closest they got with that was the ranking system, which has all been just completely done away with. Yeah. But is there any, do you want to?
Yeah, I was like, have they just completely forgotten about that? So
would you keep the tunnels?
No, what I want to see, yes. Well, if not the tunnels, I would keep separate quote unquote heel and face entrances. So whether that's just like a cutout of 3D like LED walls like WWE does.
Yeah.
Just and then like a big Centertron, you know, I could see that. And I wouldn't hate that. Like, because then you could really showcase a big panoramic shot of and like do some of those really cool entrances that I feel are lost on the two smaller screens and the one in the center.
Yeah. I think they're gonna add lasers.
I mean, I think that's a given.
Are they gonna add sharks with lasers?
Oh well.
Yeah.
Fucking, you know how much money that takes? It's over $1 million, I hear. I wouldn't be sad to get rid of
1 million.
Yeah. The LED tube lights, like, or whatever they are, that like on the tunnels, you know, they've kind of got
inside the tunnel.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I think those have always I thought looked a little cheesy.
What if they made it a little? I mean, it was kind of three-dimensional setup, like as it was, but I think they get rid of the chandelier thing, especially since that was such a Cody thing. And then I think that somehow maybe bring the tunnels out or push that screen back so the tunnels look deeper.
That would be cool. Yeah, that would be cool.
Because like they look really shallow, and they look even shallower on the Universal taping.
Oh my God! Well, they are that much shallower. Like the ones that we saw were like
I know, but
like
it's just
little truss, like they were barely
like 5 feet.
Yeah. They're kind of pointless at that. At that point, what's the point of them even being there?
Exactly.
No,
I've seen indie shows with better wrestling with better entrance ramps.
I'm trying to remember, because for a while Jade Cargill was kind of using the center entrance, right, with the chandelier, and I know they had a thing with Powerhouse Hobbs was using it.
I was gonna say someone else used it.
Powerhouse Hobbs was using it for a little bit. So, but again, like, do you have to keep that around just because of that? Like, they can still do a center entrance as well for certain people. I think, and I do think that that's cool that certain people get that center entrance. It's kind of like how when Death Triangle come out, you have basically like the way they all come out is it's sort of like, you know, Rey Fenix on the face side, Pac on the heel side, and Penta's always in the middle. I don't think he comes out from the center entrance. He might. I don't know. I can't picture it in my head. I don't think he does. But at the same time, the way they all stand represents the kind of like the heel tweener, you know, face dynamics across the board. And then you've always got Alex Apprehentis. He comes out with essentially he's always kind of near Penta when they come out as to designate him in that same way. I guess I don't want to lose that. Like, no matter how it's done, the separate entrances are something that I, you know, really have liked since the beginning. I know it was a TNA thing for a while with the tunnels. I know other, you know, promotions have done it, but, you know, it's such a different thing than what WWE was. I'd hate to lose that completely. I don't want it to be this big just fuck off screen and that's that, you know? I think it'd be lame.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, but if it's a screen and lasers, and it's just lasers and lame.
Yeah.
I mean, like, look, I think that there's a way that they can do it. I think that typically the second iteration is usually a little bit rocky when it comes to stage designs. Like, you know, they aren't all winners.
They've got the right guy to do it now. Obviously, they hired that Mike Madsberry, want to say is Mark Mads, something like that. I forgot his name, but he was essentially like that next in line guy to Kevin Dunn on the production side of WWE. And like, that was everybody in the world of the business basically saying that like this is it's a bigger hire for AEW that people even really realize if they're not in the industry.
Sure.
Like the guy's like
no, absolutely
legit knows
and that's
shit.
why I'm like, it's really got the potential to be. And I also think that they know that stuff is gonna leak, so they're not gonna have it fully show ready until it's ready to debut.
Yeah. And they got, I mean, it's only a day, so they got to get the work done, and they'll save some of the glitz and glamour elements until tomorrow, I'm sure, and then we'll get leaks as people are coming in the building and start seeing some stuff. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I really hope that it kind of gets a little bit more invigoration in the AEW product. And again, I don't think AEW's doing near as bad. I'm not doom and gloom as some other people, but I think it could use a shot in the arm. It's been doing a lot better these last couple months, I would say, like at least month or so. Like the shows, like they put a really concerted effort into, banger dynamites and rampages, and I hope that just forward momentum continues. And this could be like I'm not going to say easy way to do it, but a kind of a cheat code way to do it in a little bit, just to get more eyes on the product.
Sure.
Yeah, I think at least initially enough people want to see what it looks like, and then it just depends on if the people who are WWE stands and don't like AEW, they go hard left or right, one way or the other, like. If that, because all the AEW people are gonna fucking, I love it so much, blah 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 blah, right? Probably, but I think it's that crossover or casual fan. Like once you get them, does the look keep them a little bit longer? Now it's your job as the wrestlers and everything to
tell the stories, to
tell
get
the
them
story
invested.
and really bring them in.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, and speaking of just like bringing in eyes and viewers, and we're going to be really interested in the numbers of not only what this Wrestle Kingdom does, but also what the Shinsuke Great Muta kind of match did. Like, buys up tremendously. Is Kenny going to be I mean, he has done before, but like, I would love to know, like, the subscriptions to New Japan World, how much they increase after his announcement, and what that number sort of looks like right now. I also, of course, need to bring up the Will Osprey, Kenny Omega promo from the press conference earlier today, or yesterday, depending on what time zone you're in.
The Will Osprey promo, because Kenny didn't do much talking in that one.
No, he didn't. But this was good. This was good, especially with their feud, the way that it's all been like brewing for months, or like years at this point, really, with Kenny sort of always saying that he was trying to put he's very disappointed in Will Osprey for not carrying the company, as well as Kenny did when he was there, and all of this, and what a way for Will to take the center stage on this, and to address almost all of those criticisms, I think.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest one being the when he says, either you're gonna pass me that torch, or I'm gonna fucking take it from you.
Yep.
Yeah, so he's definitely digging into that whole, Kenny tried to pass it to him before and says he hasn't, but it was good. I watched it right before we started recording because I had it saved and we were kind of talking about it. But it was super interesting. I mean, very fucking intense. I still think we've talked about this months ago, but I still think they're gonna fucking do a triple, like a series of 3.
It warrants more than one match.
I think it's gonna go to Forbidden Door 2 or whatever they end up calling it. That's going to be one of the main events. And then I think it goes
Electric
back,
Boogaloo.
and I think it goes back to and then I think it goes back to Japan. They do the third one there and see how well they can cross over, bringing all of those fans from either side. I think it's a good way to test all the markets and do that.
I wouldn't be even surprised though if something happens like involving Callis or something tonight, so that it warrants match 2 on Wrestle Kingdom Night 2 towards the end of the month. I don't see any reason that they couldn't pull that off.
Or do you see it happening when AEW goes to the UK?
I mean, that would be perfect, right? Like that would be a great. I mean,
like
that sort of homecoming for Will.
And also you want to have a banger set up to get butts and seats to make sure, not like they're going to have any trouble selling out, but you want to be like, oh shit, we got to move to a bigger venue.
Yeah.
Kind of numbers.
And in the UK, that
and Will Osprey, Kenny Omega in the UK would fucking do it.
Yeah, it would. It absolutely would. I'm still not completely adverse or think it's out of the question that Don Callis turns on Kenny. And I think that
he's a carny fuck. He has to turn on him at some point.
Well, and that's just it. If we're really anointing Will as taking Kenny's place, well, then why would Don want to? I mean, it's perfect reason that Don would want to jump ship to the next big thing. I mean, it's
the next wrestling god.
The next wrestling god. I mean, he's a lot like Paul Heyman in that regard, right? As a character, like you've always got to keep your eye on the next big thing.
Absolutely. He is the Paul Heyman of the non-WWE world.
I also think that would be an interesting. I know they're going to Winnipeg soon, and Callis has been talking that up. So that would be a really interesting sort of angle to help like sort of play out in Winnipeg when they go there. You know, something involving, of course, Kenny and Don and that type of deal. Like,
okay, let's do a series of 7, like Death Triangle and the Elite. And let's do every continent. I want them to wrestle in Antarctica. I want every continent
in front of nothing but penguins.
Yeah.
Hey,
and the alien from The Thing.
I think Will Osprey would have preferred the penguins than he would the silent crowds, no clap, the clapping clouds.
Yeah, he's very upset about that.
I can imagine it though too, and like I guess tonight's the first night, right? That they're going to be allowed, I think, to cheer. I think tonight is the first night that fans.
And I don't think it's the full arena either. I think it's like a section of it.
I think it's a section.
Like it's
Is it like one of those?
did you pay to upgrade your seat so you can cheer?
Right?
Like, is it like an add-on to the ticket? They're like, yeah, for 50,000 more yen, you can fucking
horse,
you can yell.
Not
shut the fuck up.
Seriously, I wonder if it is something like, because they're so strict on, like I guess all the COVID quarantine rules and stuff. Do you think that it's maybe something like if you have to be quarantined for 10 days, prove that, then you can get into a section that you can cheer.
And tested.
Right? Yeah. I mean, it's a lot to go through to go to a fucking wrestling show, I guess.
I just hope New Japan doesn't do the WWE glass, like, the hockey boards fucking in that section.
Oh, yeah.
They probably will. They probably will. Yeah, I don't know.
Let it be the sides next to the entrance.
Yeah, you could do that. I mean, I don't know. I think they want some.
I don't know. COVID went over the whole world. It's a respiratory. I mean, it's just in the air. So I guess going to an arena or a dome and putting those, people inside of it. It's just air. I mean, that's much smaller than the planet's atmosphere.
Yeah, and it's the thing. You're absolutely right. Speaking of,
speaking of New Japan,
sure.
Like I think it was I was watching one of Foley's podcasts, and he was talking about Japan and Korakuen Hall, one of the New Japan venues. I think it's Korakuen Hall, but one of them is literally just like the 5th floor of an office building.
I've heard.
Like you go up to the 5th floor, and when you come out onto the 5th floor.
Did you guys ever watch that? I've talked about it once or twice. That fucking Prince Devitt. Fucking.
It's in that.
It's in that. You can see him. He goes in. He's in that little hallway, and then he goes through, and then
It's mind blowing, really. Yeah. Like,
and I just think it's fascinating. Yeah,
Well, I mean,
and
it
then
is
I
called
also,
like Hurricane Hall. It is a hall.
Yeah.
Down a hall.
It's true.
You know,
I have a friend that is going to be in Japan, and he's like, "Oh, hey, look, there's a New Japan event on my day off." I was, well, you should definitely go. He goes, "Yeah, you know I'm going to. What shirt size are you?" I'm like, yes. Whatever big fat gaijin size they have.
Exactly. One thing that was apparent to a lot of very eagle-eyed people on the internet, as these nerds tend to be, was that in that sixth match of the best of 7 series that you saw, Matthew, what was Kenny Omega wearing on his shirt? What shirt was he wearing?
It was a white shirt.
Yeah.
And it was, hold on,
while you think about it, one of the things I loved about all of the elite in the match, it's one of my biggest pet peeves.
It was an Ibushi shirt.
It was a Kota Ibushi shirt. You're absolutely right. It was a Kota Ibushi shirt. Kenny's always doing these little hints, right? He had the CM and the
Little
Cookie
Easter
Monster
eggs,
shirt, the little Easter eggs. We know there's some weird stuff with Kota Ibushi in the contract. What if that ties into something tonight? What if that ties into something like further down the line with AEW? I think it's entirely possible, and we know they're close, so that's maybe it is just him being like shouting out a friend, but with Kenny it's usually a little bit more. But
they are close. They are lovers.
They are
golden lovers
of the golden variety.
Yeah. But no, they actually, the elite did what I always say that you should always be wearing in a street fight or a Falls Count Anywhere match. You got to be wearing jeans. You got to be wearing,
and they were like boot cut.
Yeah,
jeans.
you got to be wearing jeans. No wrestling attire. That's why Death Triangle deserved to lose that match, as they came out in regular wrestling attire like idiots.
Kenny was fucking ready.
And goddamn jeans in a Falls Count Anywhere match. It's what it should be.
That's what it should
always
be.
Say, always contend that. Always contend.
True to form.
As is tradition.
Let's talk a little bit about some WWE stuff. All right. Actually, no. Before we do that, let's stick on Japan. I mean, and then we'll throw to WWE. But I haven't seen the full match. But that every bit I've seen of the Shinsuke Great Muta stuff has been nothing but like fun. Like it's been like from
did Muta call him like a slur?
Yes, he did. He called him a homophobic slur, but I do not think the intent was there. If you've obviously seen the finish of the match, like that's it all makes sort of like sense. Like
I also just wonder if there's like a language barrier, culture, and I had to throw it out there.
Yeah, I don't think that's as big of a deal as people you're making it out to be. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I thought like everything about the whole presentation of it all was great. I thought, it was
Shinsuke on Twitter had this fucking dope picture. Once he had hit the ring, go to his Twitter and look at it if you haven't. And it's just because he was wearing that huge white robe thing and everything when he came in. Once he got to the ring, when he did like the whole drop to his knees and hand to the ground, like it's a still of that, but the way that like robe cape thing is up in the air and everything, it looks so badass.
Yeah, no, I think I've seen which one you're talking about, but I was just astounded too. Like, that's the Shinsuke we need in WWE. That is
the Shinsuke we originally got.
Yeah, the NXT Shinsuke for sure. I mean, like
same violin player and everything.
Yeah, absolutely. So
I think Shinsuke he knew at a certain point when he hit the main roster, maybe not initially, but he knew he's like, they're not going to get me beyond like a certain point. So why am I going to try beyond this? I'll give this much. I'll give 70% because that's what they're going to give me. They're only going to let me hit to that 70% in WWE. They're not going to let me have a title. They're not going to really put me in that contenders whatsoever. So with that being said, like, I mean, would you like, that's kind of just, wouldn't you just go in and do the bare minimum if you know your promotion to that level is like not there?
And
like,
then go surf on your days off.
yeah, this is your job. And like, hey, I do my job. I show up. I fucking do it well. You use me how you want to use me. But like, you know,
I think
you've
the
already
boomers
proven.
call that quiet quitting.
Yeah,
yeah, in a lot of ways.
He quiet quit at WWE,
and he, you know, they I guess you could arguably say they've done some stuff. He's been like the perpetual random IC champ that always forgets IC champ for like, you know, months at a time, or yeah, that's all happened. But he needs direction. But
that's what I'm saying. That's 70%.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I feel like if he, it's a combination, right? Like now that we have Trips,
and then he had the nutshot feud with AJ.
Oh yeah, that was dumb. But if he could do something where, like, if him and AJ were to have,
but with AJ injured,
right? Do you slot Nakamura into what maybe
AJ's
AJ
got a
was going
broken
to be
ankle.
doing? Yeah. Do you like?
Well, look, I mean, Anderson's in Japan for his never openweight title defense.
Yep.
Tonight, right? And then, so they have crossover there. I don't know. I think there's a way that you could sort of put either put the machine gun on front, you know, on the main focal point of that, because he's more than capable of it.
Sure.
Or bring Shin in and let him join up with the OC.
I would be fine with that, actually. I think that would be fitting. You know, there's also even the possibility that, you know, two different promotions, no New Japan, but WWE's obviously been open to both of them, you know, working, you know, kind of with each other here. So Shin could maybe pop up in something involving, what if he's there tonight backing Okada, his old buddy? I mean, like that's not even the strangest thing, and then you start like getting it.
But with some AEW stars there too,
right.
Do you think they,
now,
you know, and like with the possibility
not.
of Sasha or Mercedes showing up?
I got thoughts on that, but I'll save that for a little later. I do think
look, like there's WWE talent there. It's going to be a big melting pot. This could be potentially, there could be shit going on backstage. Rocky Romero could be a wizard.
Right? Like,
you know what I mean? Like, I legitimately think that man has more pull and is a better negotiator than anybody gives him credit for. And I think that he could be the one person who could bridge the gap between all three of the major companies right now.
And with the Good Brothers back in WWE, with all of his connections in AEW, I mean, it does.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, do we get finally like would, you know, both sides be open to some like super card type pay-per-view, all three sides where all three can benefit? I'm
even if it's like a battle royal match and there's WWE and AEW talent in the same match, even if you start it that way, right?
Do it in Raw Underground.
Yes. Do it in Raw Underground for the 24/7 title.
Raw Underground on Legends Night.
Yep.
Yes. And we follow it with a draft.
Fuck yes.
Sounds like the best.
Oh, and but you can trade between
the
promotions.
Raw Underground Legends Night 24/7 draft.
That's
it. Yeah, dude, I am so in on this. I would pay $99.99 on pay-per-view for this.
I like it.
Asian delegation selects.
I was thinking, wasn't it Trips that was so instrumental in bringing Shinsuke in the first place, right? Though, too. That's why I'm like, So that's why I'm like, like, I feel like this could be the beginning of like one last real go with Shin, and this could be like, I don't know, the start of all that.
Or Trips just like, listen, man, you just train people at the PC. You can go surf your fucking days off, or like I won't make you come in till 1. You can go surf in the morning, drive back, fucking hit the PC, whatever, you know, like
I'll make you come in until 1.
I like it. I like it. There's some good
every
ideas.
day's a half day.
Yeah.
Should Shinsuke adopt the Mist now? Again, if you haven't seen the sort of the whole finish to the Great Muta match, he was Muda misted him earlier in the match, was gonna go for a second mist, and Shinsuke sort of grabs him and plants a big old smoocherino on him and sucks the mist from the Great Muda's face and uses it against the Great Muda, but in a different color, which that was a real nice touch, because Muda was doing the red mist, and then when Shinsuke did it, it was green. Thought that was a real nice, I know that green was a real nice little.
Well, because Muda did when Muda was sort of working face, he used the green mist.
Yeah.
And when he was working heel, when he was his.
Well, and you kind of had to with that black and white juxtaposition of even the ring gear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. So that obviously that was the thing that Muda made some quote unquote possible homophobic comment at. I think that's all just cultural. I think there's probably some missing part of that there too. And even if it wasn't, it's
sure.
I understand a guy of his age making that joke. It's not I've heard way worse coming from a wrestler's mouth. Let's just put it that way. It's their kayfabe press conference.
Well, sure.
It's a kayfabe press conference. It's fucking New Japan. It's not real. So it is what it is. It's.
Well, he called him a queer, and then he dropped the F-bomb. So.
Yeah, he did do that. It would not be acceptable.
But the way he did it, he's just no, but he's I don't know. He's maybe. I don't know. It's just it's sort of old.
Is he kind of maybe, Greek and kind of Jewish maybe. Too?
Yeah, I like the Jewish Greek Japanese guy.
Maybe he owns the deli.
Yeah.
a
euro.
But do you think
just stuffed grape leaves? Yes, I know.
Dolmas.
Maybe just a little
delicious.
Bit.
Do you think that he should adopt the mist though?
I'd be for it, and especially since he sucked it out
yes.
of them.
I think he should. I think, and what a cool way of what a passing of the torch of the move itself, right?
A passing of the mist.
Of the mist, yeah, the passing of the mist. I hope his. I like it. I hope his first feud back in the WWE. That's something that's just instant. He uses no doubt about it. Shin's got the mist now.
Who does he come out and mist? Yeah, who does Shin mist to really establish
Balor?
Bray Wyatt.
Ooh. All right. Yeah.
I don't hate Balor.
Gunther.
Gunther, but there's bigger plans. There's bigger plans for that, though, isn't there, right now? Oh, boy.
I know there's bigger plans for Gunther.
They're talking, if the rumors are to be believed, we might be getting Gunther Brock at Mania. Which, how can you not be
Which
for
is
that?
One of the few... Right. And it's one of the few new Brock matches that would interest me.
Yeah, there's not many left.
All right. I saw real quick at the fucking Rampage taping, I saw fucking $2 Brock Lesnar.
Oh yeah, my boy.
Stood right fucking next to that dude.
Parker Bordeaux. He follows me on Twitter. That's my boy. Come on. Hey, he's
fuck that guy, and two, I know he's playing a character. But I have video on my phone that I took that night because he's standing on the edge of the ring, right? And every time a move happened in the favor of his stable, he's ugh. It's he's edging himself the whole time. It's fucking, and he keeps grabbing the chain and taking it out and putting it in. And it is the most I couldn't fucking stand that guy. And you know what? I might go to the gym and fucking work out every day for fucking a year and a half and take a couple of fucking Taibo classes just so I could knock that fucking dude out. Fuck that dude.
All right. Okay. All right.
Right.
I'll pass that a message. I'll send him a DM. I'll let you.
Yeah. Let him know that I'm fucking come back to Denver next year, motherfucker. I'll be ready.
Wow. Matthew's fired up about Parker Bordeaux.
All right, back to Lesnar.
Yeah, Lesnar. I don't know, because I guess, Gunther's probably there's got some shit going on with Strowman right now. I feel like they're gonna probably, like, they've talked about, Drew McIntyre being, the another opponent for him at some point. Drew's hinted at it in even interviews. But then, like, the rumors of Brock and, like, I don't think I get that excited about Brock Lesnar matches, but out of all of those three, like, yeah, I want to see Brock and Gunther at Mania way more than I want to see Drew and Gunther or Braun and Gunther at
Although the last Brock run,
it was great. Yeah.
But, like, even his in-ring, like, I might not have maybe said, like, hey, I'm 100% looking forward to that match, but the matches typically were better than just squashes most of the time.
They
right?
were.
Like, there were a couple, I mean, maybe some of them definitely were, but they were, like, he had some quality matches that were actually entertaining on that last run.
He was trying on the last run. He was having fun with his character, which I think made him try in the matches, right? Like, that's the key thing about that. Like, I think Brock is more than capable of having great matches. He just has to care.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. That's one of my favorite sort of rumors coming out. I also like the rumor that the Elimination Chamber this year will be either for the IC or US title. Makes complete sense. I think that's also a great way.
I read that. Yeah.
I think it's especially too if it's the IC title, it's a great way to, like, really make Gunther look strong coming out of that, right? Like, that he retains the IC after an Elimination Chamber. Like, that would put him even more so in the fans' eyes as, being a quality opponent for a Brock Lesnar, and make it, because it is still hard to justify why would Brock Lesnar want to go after the IC title. So you could even have it in a weird way that, like, that's how, like, Gunther loses the IC title, but now has, like, you have a Brock interference of some description, and then now you have, he's got bigger fish to fry because he wants to take on Brock, doesn't care about the title anymore. Then, if you ever want to get the belt off him, I don't think you need to do that by any means. It's just going to be weird to see Brock challenging for an IC title at Mania. That's I guess the only thing that optics wise, like, I struggle with. Is that a problem with you guys in a way?
No.
I mean, I guess it makes the IC title look stronger. Builds credit for that.
Yeah, but I think
they need that.
If you look at it, like, Brock's a trophy hunter. Like, Brock doesn't really care about what anything looks like. Like, he's just going after Gunther. Like, it doesn't really matter about the title. It matters about Gunther.
That's what I'm saying, though, too. I think that
that's the way that they would spin it.
I just don't even think that you can have it for the belt, but the feud wouldn't need the belt is my point. Like, would it be better served to have that on someone else that it would make more sense, to do that with?
I see what you're thinking, but I agree with, real quick, Duncan, and I'm gonna let you finish, but I agree with what you were saying before that. Like, it elevates that title even more. Let's make more important titles, bring them up to a level, right? That they were once at before people started. Like, we just talked about Shinsuke doing that, right? And I was like, oh yeah, no one really gave a fuck, and he was the Intercontinental and the US, So, like, make people give a fuck. And how would you do that? You Gunther and Lesnar. And Lesnar doesn't have to be like, I want the IC title, like you said. He's trophy hunter. He just wants to get in there and fucking take Gunther. But he's like, I'll also take this while I'm at it.
Thinking about it, though, they've done, like, post Triple H, right? One of the first things that he did was really try and elevate the US title. And who did he do that with? Bobby Lashley. Like, made it really try and feel a lot more important. There's a lot of parallels, of course, between Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar. And I wonder if there's something even there down the road where you've got U.S. champion Bobby Lashley versus IC champion Brock Lesnar. I don't know. I feel like there's something in that you could probably do.
I don't necessarily like. Brock doesn't need to win that match.
Well, I think he shouldn't, but I also
think at this point in his, you know what I mean.
I just wouldn't be surprised if he did.
Well, no, but he also doesn't have to have anything to do with the finish.
Yep.
In that Elimination Chamber match, right? Someone else can,
right?
Like, so he could still look strong and doesn't lose anything whatsoever.
Fair. Do you guys mind taking a quick 10 minutes? Yeah. I gotta pee, have a quick smoke.
Yeah, because you could have.
Sorry, I think you froze. I can't hear him.
You guys have been freezing all night on me.
No. I'm here.
No, you're good. We're gonna take a quick 10, all right?
Yeah, I'm probably gonna have to. Yeah, I'm probably gonna have to cut out.
Gotcha, bro. Well, it's good seeing you again. We'll talk to you real soon, all right? We'll see if we can get you together on the next one.
Absolutely.
I'm coming for that belt.
We're all coming for that belt.
It's never gonna happen.
I'm telling you, bro.
No.
Well, I guess you
got not happening. Staying right here on the Brock Lesnar part-timer schedule.
All right. You guys, we'll be back in just a few minutes with more Ohno Wrestling. Duncan, we love you, and for good old time's sake, give it a woo!
I'm in I'm in the same boat. I'm optimistic about some things, pessimistic about others. I will say I don't think the lead up to the Rumble has been horrible by any means. Um I'm a little more interested, I think, than I have been in recent years. Granted, there was a pandemic, so that could have had something to do with it, right? There was
Clearly.
a couple of years we didn't have a show or didn't have a crowd. But I think it's I don't know. I mean, Cody posted something today and it was like April 4th or 2nd, whatever. It was his return and everything. I mean, it's kind of like calling your shot, right? I mean,
Sure.
there's something there. So I mean,
Is that the date for Mania? Was
no,
that the...
no, it was him when he was at Mania last year and had his WrestleMania moment.
Right.
It was like last year, so it was April 2nd or 4th of last year, but it has the date. And then it's like this promo package that he tweeted, and it's like of his WrestleMania moment, return to Mania and like that sort of thing. So
saying the loud part quietly in a lot of ways, like
exactly for someone who hasn't returned yet. Right?
I mean,
You know?
is it too obvious still now that we get the return at Rumble, in a prized position or or something like that, and then have him win the Rumble? I mean, is it too obvious at this point?
I mean, maybe, but all wrestling promoters go very obvious at times, even like because at this time
the obvious can become the audience, the unobvious in a lot of ways. Like, yeah, you can look at that definitely from both sides of the coin. I think it's the right way to go. I think that you have him come back. I'm skeptical of the rumors that The Rock might be involved in the Rumble. I mean, do you think there's any shot that we've got The Rock in the Rumble? No shot,
because Rock between Rumble and if anything happens at the Rumble, that not only puts off his Mania, but it puts off anything that he's worked to schedule that out. I don't think if he's at the Rumble, it's just a promo.
Yeah. It's you're probably right. I don't think that necessarily means he's gonna wrestle, even if he is there. Is a Steve Austin return possible at the Rumble?
Do not do that. Come on.
I mean, guy looks in great shape.
I guess I'm not in tune with his social media. I'm just bad at social media, but I don't think it. I've read articles where The Rock has commented on his workouts, and it looks like, at least the articles in whatever algorithm I am in the wrestling, fucking ether out there, I get articles every now and then of like, Stone Cold's looking really good in these fucking workout videos. And I'm like, I don't know, was he always fucking working out and looking good? I didn't hear that last year.
I feel like he stepped it up a notch. I do. I think it started with the whole thing last year, and it's just only, continued.
I mean, he looks great
and looks even better. I can see them doing another thing with him at Mania. I don't necessarily think that means that you have to have him in the Rumble, let alone win the Rumble or anything like that. Other surprises.
KO and Stone Cold versus The Rock and Sammy.
I mean, I'd be in. I
would watch that shit.
I would watch that shit all day long. I think that they're setting up KO as Roman's next opponent, right? Like, I feel like KO. I mean, it's possible because, like, you could have KO win the Rumble. I don't think that that's out of the line of possibility, because you could still do the match with him and Roman, like, open up the show with that, and then you could have the men's Rumble close it, and you could have KO, basically enter the Rumble, and at least be Final Four or have some sort of big impact within that Rumble. I think that would even maybe allow for a possible, like, Sammy victory or something too, because that's the other dark horse. You could easily have Sami Zayn win the Rumble this year and put that friction onto him and Roman and the Bloodline. I think that's a great story that you can tell. I just don't know if they want to do that because of what they probably have with planned for Cody.
What if? I actually do like that. I wanted to, because I know we're going to do some predictions for 2023. One of them I wanted to put in there was that fucking Sammy would take it off Roman.
I think I
It would be.
I don't think it's what's going to happen,
but it's a cool angle to think about.
It's a really cool angle to think about, because here's the thing too. It's been so organic that the fans themselves would, like, never in a million years would you say that could happen, that Sammy could possibly be that guy to take it off Roman after all this time. But now you can, because the fans he's got their support. Like it's and I think you can easily make a sympathetic baby face out of him too when the inevitable turn happens. And you can have him win the Rumble. You can have the friction with Roman, and Roman finally, turning on Sammy before you get to Mania, and then Sammy going in as a huge baby face up against Roman. And 100% you can make that happen. Let's not forget that there's 2 nights of Mania, right? There's 2 nights of Mania, and one could be Sammy, one could be Cody, one could be Rock, one could, a lot of possibilities there.
Let me blow your mind here. Roman Reigns enters the Rumble at number 30, wins, and has to face himself for both titles on each night.
I mean, he's a draw. I mean, he'll do good numbers if he can make it happen.
People would go nuts for that, and then hate on Kenny Omega for wrestling a doll.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I like, too, that it would have to be, like, you find that guy that's, like, the fake Roman, like, the fake Undertaker, the fake... Like, you find a guy that looks just a bit like him. I mean, you just call Jason Momoa, right? And have him come over.
Or you call, like, one of the Oose's fucking
10,000 other cousins that they probably have that lying around there that are all good pro wrestlers, like, just by birth. But it's not outside of the realm of possibility either that Roman comes out of Mania having not lost any belt.
That's a rumor that's going around right now, too. I've read that. There's a chance that he's not going to drop it till after Mania.
I mean, and I kind of get it. I kind of see why you want to do that, because I think it's, once again, is it too obvious that we split?
Solidification. That's like one more milestone on the mountain, right?
Yeah.
So whoever comes up to be able to put a run against the run that he's had, right, is like the next big one, right? You got to keep setting that. That's how superstars are born. Like, you keep one-upping a little bit your predecessor. You sit on that mountaintop for a while with them. You go back and forth. But whoever had it for so much longer before you, unless it's something that, like, the audience got so behind that the booker, the promoter had to change it, book it differently or something to that effect. But other than that, it's who's the best storyteller, and then how can you get to that level and work off of it to then get to the next, chapter or anthology, right?
I also think, just as far as, like, other surprises in Rumbles, I think Matt Cardona is prime for a Royal Rumble return, and as Matt Cardona, not Zach Ryder. I think that you do it that way, right? I think he's definitely a guy that I see back in WWE sooner rather than later. I think there's even been reports that Chelsea Green, his wife or fiance, whatever they are now, that's almost like, it seems like that one's pretty much a done deal that she's going to be back over there.
Yep.
Maybe you even what would be cool in my mind as well is if you had, I think Cameron Grimes would be a good one. I think they're probably saving him for a Rumble sort of debut, like main roster debut.
I think Breaker just shows, they've done a bunch of these things where they just show up for the Rumble. And
I can
main roster.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, and sometimes it's their full calling up, but then other times it's just, hey, it's guy from NXT has entered the Rumble, and I'm okay with that. That makes
because they could say, former NXT World Champion and or NXT World Champion. Yeah,
I think would be a cool one that you save any sort of debut, to have. You have Dragon Lee, who is NXT's new signing, but you have him debut in the Rumble, doesn't mean that he's going to be main roster, like I think he will be very soon, but I think that you still have him go work NXT for a while. But I think you can have him debut.
That's a good way to
in the
introduce
Rumble
him to a lot more
Yes.
fans, and then maybe bring some eyes back. I like that.
Yeah. And that was an interesting, thing that happened with Dragon Lee. Obviously, he is so okay. I always get all the relationships mixed up. He is.
You want me to look it up?
Well, is he cousin of Roosh or brother? I think he's brother of Roosh.
I think he's brother too.
I think he's brother of Roosh. Obviously, relations to Andrade, LFI, all that. The obvious thing, because it sounds like AEW did make him an offer at one point, and it sounds like he maybe talked to Roosh and talked to friends there and decided that the WWE offer was probably better for him. And I think they're right, simply because of the overbloat of the roster on AEW. Not that there's not one on, on the main roster or on NXT. Like, there is certainly that, but I think he's going to have more opportunity for more screen time if he goes to NXT right now than if he goes to than if he goes to AEW. I think it's also one of those that, hey, why don't you sign this 2-3 year deal, and then we'll see where things are at in a couple years, and then we, maybe we'll jump over with you, maybe you'll jump over with us, but like get your name out there for a little while, and then move, think about that next step. But,
yeah, his sorry, and I'll come right back to this. So his two older brothers. So one of them is Roosh, and the other one is
Dralistico. Yeah. Who we tag teamed with in that match against FTR in AAA, and it's seemingly that WWE and AAA, I think more on the AAA side, but AAA most certainly want to have a better working relationship with WWE. And I think that they've had a slight working relationship with AEW, but then there's some weird muddying of the waters with CMLL and some of like the Andrade stuff, and like they could be pissed off at some of that. Then there's the whole Tay Mello, Sammy Guevara thing not showing up for their pay-per-view just this past week or so. So like maybe AAA is a little bit disillusioned with AEW and their partnership, and they figure it would be better to partner a little bit more with WWE, which in all honesty, it is probably better for them to partner more with WWE.
Well, and do you think that also has something to do with obviously FTR and their contracts expiring in April? And talk of FTR going back to WWE after that happens, or at least working some indies and such. I mean, they're holding those tag titles right now.
One of my biggest predictions that I have is that FTR will be back in WWE by the end of 2023. I don't think it's immediate. I do think that they do not re-sign full-time contracts with AEW, and I do think they probably work a little bit of it, some indies, work some dates they want to work, maybe even work some, maybe some more Japan dates and that type of thing. And then when that time's done, I think they'll maybe take a little break, and then I do think they'll pop up sort of, towards your Survivor Series, type of end of the year, kind of getting towards the end of the year in the WWE. It's not immediate, but yeah, I do. I think with Dax's podcast, I think with just kind of the way I'm looking at them dropping all these belts all at once, it seems like I think it's kind of inevitable at this point. I think they're going back.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's inevitable. I do think that them dropping them all, you kind of got to at some point. I mean, Kenny did it.
Mm-hmm.
Only person who hasn't is Roman, and he doesn't have like multi-promotion belts.
Right.
His multi-roster belts. But I think it's written. It's kind of that whole hey, we came, we did this, we got to go on this run. It was awesome.
We made our careers. We made our careers. We really got to prove that we were.
And now we can go back up, but we got to actually do it, and good for them.
Absolutely. I'm not saying anything bad about it.
Oh no, I know you're not, but I'm just saying good for them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's great that they have that opportunity, and why wouldn't you, right? Because they weren't getting booked well in WWE prior to that. We all said that. Everyone was stoked, and talk about taking the torch and running with it, right? They did take the torch and run with it when they had this opportunity. But again, what happens when you reach the peak of the mountain that you're at? Like, either you just keep going back and you kind of know the route, or you get old and tired and you say, I can't do that route anymore. The fans think you're old and tired and can't do that.
Yep.
Or do you use it and you go to another mountain? You go climb another mountain peak.
I feel like it's very much taking a page out of Cody's playbook as well. And they've always said they were pretty close with Cody, I want to say. Like, that they had a good relationship with him, and that would make a lot of sense. Like, it's sort of it would almost be a nice full circle for them too, to go out there
and
make.
Some of them deserve that. I mean, that full circle and those moments that they couldn't get before, right? And I think it's so cool to be able to watch those stories of someone we all watched and saw them get to WWE, and then we felt they weren't utilized. Maybe they weren't ready, right? I don't know what it all is, but then they got this opportunity to go do this and really show the world how good they are and what they're about, and then come back. And that's a huge success story for anyone who's able to do that. I don't care if you're talking about AEW, WWE, any wrestling promotion, anyone in any trade or whatever the fuck you're doing, right?
Absolutely.
I think that's amazing. And I think another person that's been talked about, and not that he would have another run there, but would he re-sign a contract or something like that, or possibly leave it open because there could be Hall of Fame inductions for Cody and WWE and such, and that's his brother, Dustin. Right? His contract's up, I think, this year or in a year, if not this year.
And he's already kind of said, hasn't he, that he's like, this is my last year, probably like full-time pro wrestling. Like, I'm going to retire after this year. So why wouldn't it be a good thing for, him to have that one last hurrah back in WWE? I think that would probably make a lot of sense. Like, I think that would be great.
And he loves teaching too. Like, he's always running classes wherever he is, and those types of things. So
he'd have a place down at the PC immediately. He'd have
a
job for life.
Someone who actually looks like Dusty, and is his son and looks like him, to come there and be able to teach and carry on that legacy. That's 2 generations now. That's fucking great. And I think he would really want something like that.
Without a doubt.
I'm not going to speak for him. I'm just thinking.
And again, like, talking about these guys that have gone away, proven something, and can come back. It's Matt Cardona, right? A guy that's like really gone out and proven that he's kind of got what it takes to be a top level guy, and not just kind of the Zach Ryder woo woo woo. Like, he has gone out, he's done his whole King of Deathmatch thing. He's ruled the indies. Like, he's one of the biggest indie draws out there right now. And that's not something that any of us would have guessed, prior to his release. I did see though, I did see something that he was posting. I'm trying to find it here on Twitter. I'm not having much luck, but he's been posting these awful pitches he had for Zach Ryder in the WWE.
I saw a couple of these.
Yeah. One of them was for like Bobby Roode, and that, like, he would become like a stalker for Bobby Roode, and that one.
Oh wait, hold on, wait. That is exactly what we just saw with the
Loomis thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Also interesting, because I'm looking up his pitches right now. I'm looking it up on Reddit.
Yeah.
Via Twitter. But I was gonna say, that is one thing. I read an article the other day, and I thought it was very interesting that Dexter Loomis he should be more over, but the fact that he doesn't have any expression, the article was saying, and it was a think piece right there, an opinion,
Yeah.
but like,
is that
the
holding
fans,
him back?
well, no, the
they can't
fans
relate?
can't really buy into you because you're not reacting to them or anything else. So when there is that, like, you're playing a character and we kind of see what you're doing, but because you don't react to anything that's really happening in the ring or outside of the ring or the crowd, how do we buy in? Now you're just kind of flat, and you could be doing more.
That's sort of why the stuff that he was doing in NXT kind of worked. Like, as terrible as that whole angle with him and like Indy Hartwell and stuff was, they like, without him having to show expression, like, because of his actions, you saw that he was a real human, right?
Yeah.
Like, he did like care for her and have a romance, like, as dumb as a wrestling romantic angle is at times, it actually showed the person behind the serial killer, essentially, right?
Yep, exactly.
I'm struggling still to find some of these Zach Ryder pitches. If
I found the initial post, but
there's one where he once pitched that he wanted Hornswoggle to be his mini broski. He wanted to have him. Hang on, I think I got this here. I think I got one of them.
Someone did reply, LOL, soon we gonna see Matt Cardona randomly show up in a Miz segment. That was in a reply to that picture of him holding that folio that said Zach Ryder pitches.
Yeah.
He replied, nah, Miz doesn't text me back anymore since I left New York.
See, all right, so it says I can be backstage, I can approach Alicia Fox and Tamina, or any two divas. I can get to smooth talk one, and when that doesn't work, I'll immediately start hitting on the other. Both want nothing to do with me, but I won't take no for an answer. I'll say something like, oh, I get it, you only go on double dates. I'll go find one of my broskies. Later on in the show or next week, I approach the divas once again and explain how I found my new broski. The divas look disgusted and the camera pans down to reveal Hornswoggle. He's clean-shaven, hair spiked, wearing a headband and sunglasses. The divas storm off, but I have found my new broski, Mini Broski. In the following weeks, I can teach Hornswoggle how to talk. He can help me win matches, and we will entertain. That was one of his terrible...
there it is.
Yeah. Okay, here's another one. I found this thread.
I found a few, too.
All right. He's like, here's an idea I had about my character stalking Bobby Roode. Zach stalking of Bobby Roode would start innocently. For example, wishing Bobby good luck backstage or congratulating him after a win. The next week, he could be complimenting Bobby's physique and asked to compare workout strategies. Social media would come into play, and with Zach taking pictures of video or videos of Bobby in the gym, restaurants, backstage, etc. One week, Bobby could be in need of a tag team partner, and Zach could insist that Bobby chooses him. Or Zach could inadvertently cost Bobby a match while trying to help him. After a few weeks of things like this, Bobby could get frustrated with Zach and tell Zach to leave him alone. This would cause Zach to snap and eventually viciously attack Bobby. I mean, that just sounds like a WWE storyline. So
it definitely does.
Like, I don't hate that one. But no, like, I do kind of like that. Even though he knows how probably terrible in WWE these are, he's still just like, he's at least going in there and like pitching shit, right? And I like that. I think like that's what one of the things they always said about Vince is that if you don't have a better idea, like if you don't like the idea that we're giving you, you better have a better one.
You better have a better one. Yeah.
And he, I think for the most part, he would at least listen to people's ideas and like it would admire that kind of like, no.
You're actually trying.
Yeah. I think that was 100% something that Vince can't be terribly faulted on. Now he may not listen or do anything with those pitches, which he clearly didn't in this case, but they always had it out for Zach Ryder because he made himself, right? Like on the internet.
Yeah.
He got himself over, and that's something that WWE always hates is when that happens. So, but either way, I think he'll be back. I kind of would like to see him, like, if they do that, why don't you bring him in as a unit? Like, instead of just sending Chelsea Green to be part of a women's division in NXT or wherever the hell, like, she's going to go, have her be a valet. Have her be a wrestling valet that's with him. Have them be an on-screen couple. I think you can absolutely make that work. I think you can then even, like, fold that into, if you want to, with other on-screen couples that you have. Hey, you've got The Miz. You've got Maurice. You can do a match there. That is actually, like, as so WWE as it is, Cardona and The Miz works.
Yeah.
Like, it works. Like, and people will be excited to see, they'll be excited to see Cardona at first, and he will get cheers. But I think there's a way you can also do it where he really plays into his dickhead character that he's playing on the indies, his egocentric character, which you pair that with the right person, you can create a great sympathetic babyface against. You can, like, if you want Miz to get cheers, you can do it that way. He'll
do a street fight or or false count anywhere match with the Miz, and he'll dress up again as Vince in the black.
That'd be great.
Like that. Yeah.
Do something like that. Absolutely. 100% with the ECW belt and the do-rag and the do-rag thing. Yeah, that'd be awesome. Something that absolutely needs to be mentioned, and we talked about, like, the whole top Dolla botch from a couple weeks ago. I think we talked about that.
I don't know if we talked about it, but I mean, it happened.
It definitely happened, and if you haven't seen it,
I think it was during our hiatus.
It might have been, but that shit was fucking hilarious, mainly because of how he then, like, sold it afterwards. Like, he absolutely nailed it. Like, he's like, what? I'm the greatest pro wrestler ever.
Yeah.
Like,
wow.
And he says his leg.
At least he's okay. At least he's okay, because that could have been way worse, man.
It could have. Absolutely could have.
And on top of that, that leads into one of my predictions for the 2023 is that the Street Profits will break up.
Okay. That's probably a decent prediction. It's probably long overdue at this point because realistically, they're too good on their own. They can easily be single stars. I mean, especially Montez, obviously.
Well, and let them go against each other.
Yeah.
Let them split, but throw a banger of a match or series together.
Absolutely.
Like one-on-one, so that they establish themselves even more.
I like this, though. Wade Barrett because I don't know if you've noticed about the whole top dollar thing. Like, they've really been playing into it hard on TV. Like, everybody, like, ragging on him, Ricochet ragging on him, especially in the locker room.
Again, didn't Ricochet just get some stitches in his head?
Yeah, I think he
after
did.
A match.
Yeah, and I think he was the one that threw the chair at Gunther and cracked Gunther's head open. So, like, I know
Ricochet got stitches too.
Yeah, okay. Well, the line, though, from Wade Barrett should be called hit rope. I mean,
wow.
Thank you, Wade. That's your bad news update right there. That's your
hit rope.
Hit rope. Yeah, that's
hit rope, bruv. Hit rope.
I will forever call them that, and I'm fine with it. I gotta ask you, though, we alluded a little bit to it earlier in the show, but things that I'm not so optimistic for. Anything involving Bray Wyatt and Uncle Howdy at this point. I don't think it's gonna work, man. I think it's fucked. It's already fucked.
Yo, it's so fucked. They waited way too long. They waited too long.
They literally they've done it again. They fucked it up again.
Yeah. Unless they have something amazing planned that we don't know. But also, did you see that video that he had broken his finger at a WWE live event? I mean, he was all in good spirits and such, but I don't know what that does. I mean,
he can wrestle with a broken finger. They'll tie the two of them together. Like that'll be all right.
I know, but it's not him at 100%, which
Right.
would then if you're going to have things start to go flat and then say like, all right, well, we haven't actually seen you get like physical in a match, then and you can't really be 100%. I don't know.
I mean, he's by at this point now, he has wrestled for the first time in a year and a half or whatever it's been. He had the dark match against Jinder at the MSG, house shows. Yep, that's where apparently he broke the finger. So who knows? Maybe it was part of Jinder's fault, but yeah.
What do you think goes on in Jinder's head at night? Like just laying there in bed, just man, I was at the top. Like and look at this physique. Like I could do it. Like why is no one?
He's probably he's on the Shinsuke Nakamura process. He's like, I'll phone it in. I'll just make my cash.
Yeah.
Get a decent paycheck. Like I'm on
the modern day Maharaja.
I'm on the main roster. I'm making main roster money. I can go if they fire me, I can probably go be a big star in India or just on the indies in general. Like he could, because he could. He would make a lot of money on the indies.
I'd go see him.
Yeah. Like,
oh shit, Dalton Castle's coming to Lucha Libre and Laughs.
Oh, here. Well, that's my boy. That's my boy. Yeah, it's Gamish Hedberg. He's one of my favorite pro wrestlers. You silly goose. But no, like Jinder, yeah, I mean, they're never gonna do anything more with him. Minus, like, the best thing right now for him and probably for Drew, just have them have a feud. Like, I think
Drew's now with fucking Sheamus.
I guess so. Yeah, they're boys again now. I mean, okay, fine, all right, sure. They're friends off screen, so it makes sense.
Yeah, they're both from over there.
They're from over near each other.
So they have to be best friends or enemies.
But okay, like, so the Bray, like the Uncle Howdy thing, like, what
was the Uncle Howdy thing with Alexa too?
Yeah, well, it's clearly that she's still under some sort of, like, she's got, well, I don't know, what does she have, PTSD or something from her days with Wyatt? Maybe that's the story they're telling. Maybe she is, scared of Bray and the Uncle Howdy thing. Like, they're clearly bringing her back into the fold of all that spooky shit. They're gonna have, I guess, Uncle Howdy be like a wrestler. I thought it was just going to be some weird manifestation of Bray's mind or, something like that. But no, it seems like, right? Like they're actually going to have Uncle Howdy wrestle. That's what it seems like.
I don't know. I'm tired.
I mean, too.
I'm just tired.
I've
been tired. I've said it on podcasts. I've said it to you. I've been tired of this for a while.
I don't think I just don't care. Like, I did enjoy it when he first came back, and I thought, like, the opening promo and stuff was good. Like, I did like that. I think it was like as soon as Uncle Howdy started showing up too, okay, this is the direction we're going. Like, I think I'm checking out of this. I mean, it's probably Bo, right?
You would think.
You look at the side-by-side pictures and stuff people have, like, done, their side-by-side photoshops.
But then you have that Uncle Howdy dude in the mask with Alexa who had the blonde hair.
Well, the guy at the show had blonde hair.
Dexter Loomis?
Well, I don't know what they're doing.
Is that her husband, the singer Ryan Caballero, or whatever the fuck his name is?
Are there multiple Uncle Howdys? Are they all disciples of the one real Uncle Howdy?
Can anyone be an Uncle Howdy?
Maybe you're an Uncle Howdy. You don't even know it yet.
Dude, I might show up next week. It's Uncle Howdy.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like this mask.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, you said, remember, I sent you the hat, and you said, like, oh, they should put, I like this hat.
They took my idea.
Which proves exactly that they listened to this.
Yeah.
And because I said, after you said that, we both said, AEW, get on this, put it on Pro Wrestling Tees, sell it. And now It just says, "I like this hat."
I like this hat on a purple hat. I knew that they were going to do it.
I will say the hat I got you
better. It's authentic.
Was prior to that even being in, because we came up with the idea for that.
Yeah.
Based off that hat.
Exactly. I've got the authentic version right here.
And now you also have I like this hat coffee tea
I have a mug. Yeah, I have a mug.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a mug. I
love it.
Yeah. I embrace my boy.
Do you like that mug?
I do like that mug.
Nice.
It's a good mug. It's a good mug. What about then? Okay, I know you're not a big fan of him, but it seems like we got kind of some stuff brewing here with Darby and Joe. After Joe beats Wardlow, cuts off Wardlow's hair, cuts off his man bun.
Dude, I was right there. I was on the corner turnbuckle front row. Wardlow he kept like reaching back and then looking at the it was like for like 4 minutes. I was
what
like,
do you mean?
Yeah, it's gone.
Where's my hair? Yeah.
But whatever, he was in character. I suspend my disbelief. It was funny from the outside perspective when you tied in. But I mean, it is kind of a David versus Goliath in the sense, but again, I just hope it's not one of those matches when they do a Joe versus Darby that it is also in person front row. Gate more respect to Joe than I've.
He's turned it around. He's turned it around.
He did turn it around. He did turn it around. Like I was definitely throwing up and Joe.
He's back on form. He's back on form.
He's back on form. He was doing well, and also his moves. Like I've a video of him like slamming Wardlow.
Yeah,
and it looked fucking great. I also have an amazing picture that I took of Wardlow when he did the was it a swanton off the top?
Oh, dude, it was the whisper in the wind is what it was.
I'll send you. I have 3 shots in a row.
It's incredible.
It's like first him jumping, and the other one is him. It's like the second one is perfect. I should send this in for wrestling picture of the year.
Yeah.
Well, it's too early in the. Well, I guess I should have sent it in last year.
True.
But when it comes, I guess it's kind of that David versus Goliath. But what I was going to say is I don't want it to end up being this typical fucking Darby match where he's going up against someone who is bigger than him. He takes a whole fucking beating and looks like you know what I'm saying? And they just fling him around and he takes a lot of pain. I also think, personally, Darby, if you ever listen to this, you don't need to do that to your body for everyone. Like you don't
every match,
not every time. Like we appreciate you doing it, and you can you don't have to do it every match. Save it for the big ones, and every now and then, like a little thing here, a little bump here and there. Like we get it. You're fucking extreme. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
But I just hope that him and Joe is not that same type. I want to see a little bit of solidity in Darby Allin's character in order for me to buy into him more, to grow into a bigger threat and a bigger character. Like he needs to not just like when someone runs in, like let's say Joe comes in to do a shoulder tackle. I don't even know if the physics of this is possible, right? I'm not that smart, but Joe running in and doing a shoulder, and instead of him flinging back or even taking a flat back, right? Mm-hmm. He fucking manhandles it, right? He doesn't have to do it all that time, but I want to see that little bit of like, there's this internal fucking, when he fucking puts his feet on the ground and stands there, he can like really lean into it and not take it. And I think that's a bigger move for Darby.
It's one of those that like he can at least stop the offense of like a truck like that one time. Now the second time he's gonna get absolute like haha Joe like Joe can look back at something like that and be like, whoa, I wasn't expecting that. But second one, now I'm pissed off. And fucking now you really get it.
Ability,
but yeah, you can start
build his character.
Yeah, I think you do need to do that. That match is set for this next week, by the way, in Darby's hometown of Seattle. So,
very true.
So you've got a very big opportunity. I think the only belt with the possibility of changing
Darby would
hands.
take that TNT.
I think is it for I don't know if it's for both or if it's for just one or the other. But if it's just for the TNT, I can absolutely see them putting that belt back on Darby. I think that works. If it doesn't go that way and Darby gets sort of screwed out of it, I think maybe what they're aiming for is something kind of old school grudge match wise with Samoa Joe, a partner of his choosing, Darby and Sting. Given the TNA history that, of course, Sting and Joe have, I would not be surprised if they want to have, some more interaction as Sting's kind of winding everything down. Sting's already said he's not going to do singles matches, so that's not going to be the case. I feel like this is part of that. This is part of that story. So I'm not 100% that Darby will take it on tomorrow, but I wouldn't be terribly surprised.
Yeah, I wouldn't be terribly surprised either. So it's in Portland. It is Battle of the Belts.
That's tomorrow?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Maybe I was getting them mixed up. Maybe it's like the following weeks in Seattle or something. Or I thought that they were in Seattle like real soon.
I thought they were too. I
thought tomorrow was that one.
Veterans Memorial Coliseum.
In Portland, huh? 1/4? The 4th of January.
Oh, shit. All right.
Or is that the week after?
No, I just incepted the internet. I typed in 1/6/23, and I think they were going with whatever was on 1/6/22.
22, probably.
I don't know how that. I'd have to look at the calendar, but I wonder. Oh yeah. All right. Here we go. Starks versus Jericho. We got the Acclaimed versus Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett. Who else do we have? Danielson and Nice, Swerve and AR Fox. That'll be a good match.
And that's a weird one too. What? Like they're obviously doing something with Danielson. Like MJF has to appear. I think that was the whole deal. So there'll be some interaction with that there. But I would have thought it would have been a bigger match for Danielson in his hometown as well. No offense to Tony Nese, but they'll have a good match.
Yeah, they'll have a good match. Yeah. And, okay. Joe and Darby is for TNT.
Not the Ring of Honor TV at all.
Not the Ring of Honor. It's for TNT.
Gotcha. We talked about the FTR thing before, but there was one point that I wanted to make on that. And we know they're buddies with Punk. Talked about like their podcast or his podcast where he's talked a lot and opened up about how great of a guy CM Punk is, all this.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure the Dax Harwood podcast is just the I Love CM Punk podcast.
I mean, that and I Love CM Punk and Bret Hart.
Podcast
is kind of what it is.
You should just call his podcast equals ratings.
Yeah. That's about right. But I'm thinking, in all honesty, when it comes to like them and what they decide when their contract's up, I think they're honestly waiting for a little bit more to happen with the CM Punk thing. If CM Punk re-signs with AEW, do you think that? I think that obviously makes it more likely that they would.
He's
re-sign.
not signed with AEW,
right? But
so he doesn't have
depending
to
on
re-sign.
the term. Well, depending on the terms of their deal, depending if he's bought out, depending on all these types of things, would that influence their decision?
And my biggest prediction of 2023, CM Punk is going to show back up in the wrestling industry, like on TV. I'm not saying as a wrestler, maybe as a commentator or something in some capacity. Could be WWE, could be AEW. Also predicting TNA is going to go away, but I think that I think Punk, he makes a comeback to some sort of
the pro wrestling world.
Yeah.
Interesting. I don't know if I agree with it. I'm on the fence with it. I don't think it's in 2023. I think he got
a taste for the money he can continue to make.
Yeah.
And I think that's gonna have something to do with it.
I feel like
I wouldn't be surprised if it's AEW. I mean, we've all read, I'm sure at this point, things with, Jericho being the biggest one saying I would never let, that sort of thing. But also, I don't know what Jericho's contract looks like. So at what point does he not have any pull in that? And also, at what point does he do what we just said others were doing? I conquered this mountain. Now I'm going to go back and conquer this one again. Even though I already conquered it, now it's kind of a different mountain because of, there's now new people. And,
I'm also a different Chris Jericho than I was when I left. I think there's a very strong possibility that Chris Jericho, when this contract is up, goes back to the WWE for one last run. Like, I absolutely think that there's that possibility.
Imagine that pop, dude.
Oh yeah.
At a Rumble or like a Mania.
Well, just to hear that,
do a countdown,
a break the walls down again, it would. I mean, and we'd all pop.
And you know what? He deserves that one more time. He deserves one giant pop with that break the walls down.
And he's got his Judas thing, but he would love to do he'd love to do it.
Let him do it in front of fucking 70, 80,000 people at a Mania.
Exactly. Or a Rumble or something like that. Like, just give it, one more time. So let's do like those, we've kind of like thrown around our predictions, but let's just do solidify our predictions here before we get out of here. I got predictions too from Duncan, who had to jet, but much along some of the lines we've been talking about, I don't know if I'd go this far. It's a bold one, but Duncan in 2023 predicts that Matt Cardona will win the WWE World Title. Woo! I don't know if he's going to go that far. I don't know if there's enough time.
Maybe not in 2023.
2024? I think he got a real... I mean,
he'll make himself a contender.
And I can see a mid-card belt in 2023 without a doubt. I can definitely see...
I could see that. But I think, belt. But he builds towards a title.
Yeah, I don't think he'll be there yet. Like, upon return, I think he'll have some work to do. But it's not. I mean, it could be a different world by like the end of 2023, and we might be saying, like, we wouldn't have predicted that Sammy would be this close to it, right? Like,
dude, it could be a different world by then. End of
the world by then. Who knows if the world will be here by then? Who knows? Shit. Do you want to go next?
Yeah. I'm going to go with Big E returns.
Ooh. I want that one to be true.
Listen. Here's what I would like. Big E returns. Big E gets one more title, like world title or universal. And then because he's Big E and we all know he's smart and everything, he just says, like, he then drops it to someone deserving and says, hey, I'm done.
To just not risk any more injury type thing.
Song
or,
give it.
Go out on top rather than fade away. One of those things.
I just think he's the type of person that's going to be like, I want to come back from this, but I also was aware of how dangerous this was. Now I'm even more aware.
Yeah.
And now I'm also even more like what's the word I'm looking for? Not successful.
Well, conscious or at least.
Well, but I'm also more prone.
Susceptible.
Yeah. There it is. And prone, right?
Yeah.
Thesaurus. But I'm like more prone to possibly having an injury. So let me build this up. Let this be my swan song. And let me.
He's also one of these guys too, and you can kind of already see it with they have been using him for like some of that ambassador type work, that charity work and stuff that they do. He's one of these guys.
Dude, him and Titus are gonna be so tight.
Yeah. Well, think about it though. Like, after how positive he is as a human being, the type of guy that he is, that role would fit him completely. What
I
what
think he
happened
would
to him
gain
in the
personally a lot
ring?
so much from that.
What happened to him in the ring? I feel like he's kind of one of these guys. He's probably got a job with WWE for life, unless he like some like horrible sex tape or something came out with him, like or like, even that.
And it's got to
Probably
be worse than him fucking unicorns.
exactly.
I think we all expect that at this point.
That's. I'd be mad if that.
Yeah,
didn't.
I'd be mad if it wasn't either.
Yeah.
All right, so you're up next.
I'm up next. Trying to think. I got 5 written down, but I'm gonna go with this one. Sasha Banks will return to the WWE by year's end.
I mean, very poignant you call that on the day that she just sent out tweets, multiple single tweets saying thank you at Vince McMahon, thank you at WWE, thank you at
Triple H.
Yep, at Triple H.
Probably
Raw,
Steph,
SmackDown.
maybe even.
Yeah, there was 7 or 8 that I saw. I didn't count.
And that she's obviously going to be popping up at Wrestle Kingdom tonight. Like,
yeah.
That's now I don't think she's wrestling.
No.
I think she's there now, and then there'll be a big thing with their Stardom girl.
She didn't pay extra to be in the part that she can cheer either.
Right? Yeah, she has to sit quietly. Yeah,
sit quiet.
But she'll be there, I think, tonight. And then and I think that she's gonna do some dates in Japan. She's gonna set up a couple programs. I think you might even see her on AEW television. Don't count it out, but don't count her
Don't count her fully in. No graphic.
No, and I it's still.
I don't think she would do the graphic. I think she does one-off.
So one-off.
She does it. I do think that we do get like a her and
the Saraya thing.
Yeah, Saraya match.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, Saraya still needs the partner, right?
I also think you could do her and Athena on a Rampage.
Think you could do her and Britt.
100%. Also, so Saraya and Britt were 2 of the people who were supposed to be able to be in Denver, from what I read. That couldn't make it.
Couldn't make it. Well, they both. I know Britt lives in Florida, so who knows? Like, that whole weekend was crazy with travel,
dude. So here's the thing. Well, I went into the show. It started raining here in the afternoon. By the time I left my house, it was like sprinkling. Got to Dan's place, and then like when we were walking in, it was like mid-rain, right? No, I had been wanting snow. I was like, I just want like some snow. The holidays,
sure.
I just want I want a day or two when I have off from work and all this stuff where I can just sit inside and I know I don't have to do shit because it's snowing.
Yeah, and it looks pretty, and
it's all the world, dude. I know you don't live where it snows. The world is quiet.
Yeah.
It's so quiet. When I love when I can hear snowflakes hitting snow. It's fucking amazing.
Yeah, that's cool.
But I went into that show and I walked out. Forget which. It was right before the women's match. I walked out in the commercial break, went to go piss and get a beer, and I looked outside and it was fucking everything was white, and I was like, "Holy shit!" Yeah. And so then when we walked out, there were 7-8 inches of fresh snow.
I don't know if you've seen the BTE from this past week, but the Bucks were describing that when we got to the arena today, there was no snow on the ground, and then it's them as they're leaving, outside. and then they're leaving,
it was
and it's 50
degrees. Yeah.
Thanks, Colorado, you did it again.
Well, dude, it's geological.
Sure.
There's mountains that they come in, drop down, and swoop across.
Let's see. Duncan's second one. I think this is almost a given. KO and Sammy win tag gold. That's a pretty... Yeah. I mean, I think that's a pretty safe bet in my mind. I'd like to see it, too. I think it'd be fun. I think you can do a lot with that still. I think, Sammy...
From the Usos.
Yeah, I think it's best from the Usos. And I think that Sammy and KO, you can tell that story a million times. It can grow. It can, it's like an onion, right? With the layers that just keep on coming.
Yeah, it's like a curry, really.
It's the never-ending story of KO and Sammy, and this can just be another part of that. And I'd be fine with it. Be perfectly fine with
Yeah.
it. Like, and yeah.
I would also be very fine with KO or Sammy doing a festival of friendship for the other one.
This time it has to be KO convincing Sammy to be his friend and do it the other
Right?
way
That's
around.
what I was picturing first. I was like, I could see it the other way around, but I was picturing KO first.
I just want to see him in the little fedora hat that Jericho was wearing.
Feather,
Yeah. I want to see him in that. I'm in. Book that.
Yeah.
What's your second one?
All right, second one. Do you want me to go with one that I haven't alluded to?
Yeah.
I wrote a few down here.
Well, remind us of the ones you've alluded to, and we can, because we've already kind of talked about those. So,
I mean that Street Profits are gonna break up.
Sure.
That was one. Trying to, I can't remember. I'm trying not to give away from this list.
Give us a fresh one then.
All right. Chris Statlander is going to become the women's champ this year.
All right. I really hope.
Also, on top of that, I think this is going to be a big year for women's wrestling, not only in AEW but WWE and like across the board.
Hope so to both of those things, and I think that you're right with at least it being a big year in women's wrestling. I think there's so much attention being placed on it. The spotlight is there that a company is really going to be dropping the ball at this point if they don't put a lot of screen time or give them a lot of screen time. If they
also, interestingly enough, how fucking good on Sasha for like
she's the one
she's the cornerstone of all of that.
I wouldn't say all of it, but she's a huge part. She's absolutely a huge part of tides turning, the world, like really.
Well, I think because people don't know what she's going to do.
Yeah.
I think that's why I guess I'm saying she's not the pill. She's not like the but she
no,
is
but she's
pillar,
putting she's forcing eyes onto every women's division of every company because what can possibly happen. I hope that Statlander's knees can allow that. I worry about her because she's had multiple knee injuries on both knees under a pretty small amount of time. So I don't know if, I know at this point, I think I heard very recently, she's nowhere ready to come back. Like we're looking probably 6 months at least. So it would have to be the second half of the year. So I don't know that, like, I want it to be right. I thought that she was extremely poised when she got injured this last time to really be getting to that next level. I thought that she was 100% going to be getting to that, that top star, top talent guy or girl. What title were you thinking? The TBS or the actual AEW championship?
I was thinking TBS.
Okay, so I'll skip to mine now then.
Okay.
Because I know who beats Jade Cargill for that TBS title. And before Chris Statlander got injured, she was my pick for that. I thought she was a shoo-in to be the one to take it from Jade. But I know who takes it from her now. And it's absolutely Willow Nightingale. It's a yin and yang. It's the bitch versus the most positive human being on planet Earth that you can't help just... She's infectious with her positivity. She's infectious with her smile. She's a joy to watch. She can go. She's marketable as hell. Pure baby face. Pure baby face. She's got everything. I've seen her live a couple of times now. She's fantastic. Fucking fantastic.
Yeah, so you went to a bunch of dark.
Mm-hmm.
Like and stuff.
Well, that's why I've seen her.
Yeah. So this was my first time seeing her live. She was really good. There was like one or two moves because I was like right there watching. I was like, was that you or was that somebody else? Or like that's it. But that's also just like you guys are bouncing off ropes and doing things. But
is she the best worker in the company? No. But she can go.
Dude, she commands
a presence.
And she exudes that positive energy that I think, because I don't think I ever got fully bought into Bailey
Mm-hmm.
at a certain point on the main roster with the flappy, floaty, whatevers and stuff like that.
Right.
Like it seemed forced and fake. Like, and Willow Nightingale exudes that at a certain point,
And it's
especially
organic
in a
and
live setting
natural.
where you're just like, you just do have this positive energy.
It's
I
her
wish I
smile.
could put you with it.
It's her
I wish I could put you
smile.
with the New Day.
Yeah,
And,
yeah,
like,
absolutely.
You guys could just do shit.
It's her smile. It's the way she reacts to moves sometimes in the ring. Like when she doesn't hit one, she kind of has a funny little look on her face. Like
Yeah, she does this
It's
head
like
tilt.
and it's like kind of a quirky thing that
It's almost
she
like
does.
a dog looking at you.
Yeah. It's the non-scary version of Kane, right? Like
Yeah, she's just like, hey, what was that?
Yeah, she's
What?
She's like inquisitive,
Yeah.
but and then when she does outsmart somebody, she has fun with it. Like she was twerking this past week, wasn't she?
Yeah,
Like she did
She
the
does
whole
like a throwdown.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so
No,
I don't know. I think she's the
I
perfect.
lo-
She's the perfect person to beat Jade because they're such apples and oranges.
I
They're
love
such
that.
yin and yang. It makes complete sense. I also don't see Willow as that top AEW World Women's Champion yet. So I don't think that's appropriate. But I think it's that TNT championship around her. Her doing open challenges against heels, it would work tremendously. I think it also gets Jade maybe a bit of a break and can't at some point they're gonna have to elevate her to that top level, aren't they?
Yeah. Some point they have to.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and they have to do that for the women's division. Like you have, and they've done a very good job recently. Like let's give AEW props for that. They've done a very good job with the women's division recently, especially with Britt Baker losing the title and like with Jamie
losing
Jamie
Thunder Rosa and doing what they've done to put
and Jamie
Hayter in that
is
spot.
fucking holding on. And don't forget, I've talked a lot of shit about Toni Storm, not about her wrestling ever, but it was
you just hate her theme song. You just hate her themes.
I know, but it makes me not be able to fucking buy into it.
Yeah,
you know
it's
what
terrible.
I'm saying?
It's terrible.
It's one of those things
it's
where
rip
I'm like,
off Barracuda, and it's not even good.
I'm like, I want to like you, but I can't because this is what you're about.
Yeah.
Right.
But she did really step it up.
She's fucking very good, and that's what I'm saying. We cannot forget what she has done, and also she is a contender. She is 100% up there because she is a very good fucking wrestler. I cannot let my judgment on her intro music say she's not a good performer.
No, it was a bold move to take the belt off her and put it on Hayter, honestly. But the crowd support just demanded it, and I think that's what they need to do with even this Willow thing. You're starting to seeing like Tony's listening to audiences, especially I think more on some of those women's matches than he is on any of them because he doesn't have as good of idea I think as how to book this as he does with the men's. Tony's probably like I don't think it's any secret that he's less enthused about women's wrestling than he is about men's and tags and trios. And I think
he's also watched so much men's wrestling because that's what historically has been available.
So I think and I think he's probably got plans for so much with a men's division that it is afterthought. And why not then just listen to who is organically getting over, who is doing this, and you've obviously got to build those characters. You got to build that stuff behind the scenes as well. But they're slowly developing a nice little undercard. They're developing a real like main event scene. And if you were to get Thunder Rosa back, and you were to get Chris Statlander back, and you were to have Britt more full time, and I feel you're looking at a really goddamn respectable women's division in comparison to what we were talking about at the beginning of 2022.
Yeah, 100%. I even think with
Athena
things are, so good move on Athena because I was very vocal on this podcast when she came in and what she was doing. I was like, I do not like this,
no,
at all. And
the heel
she has been able to turn it, and she's and the promotion has been able to turn that. But I also think the WWE's doing something similar. I never would have thought Charlotte Flair was going to win a title before the end of the year
and take it from Ronda in a surprise on what was it? It was on SmackDown, right? Yeah.
SmackDown.
Yeah, a surprise on SmackDown like that, unadvertised, with a new kind
that
of
is
look,
the type
a
of
new
shit
kind
that
of
makes you
theme.
say, I need to tune in to SmackDown.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. It does. And I, when it happened, I wasn't watching, and I heard about it, and I
wasn't either.
Oh, that's surprising, but I'm not mad. And I usually would be a little bit
would be mad about
Charlotte
that. I'm not
Flair
mad about that either.
I think it's time for her to be back. I think it's time for her to. I think they're doing a slight repackaging of her.
They're doing a little bit of a repackage, and I love it.
She's a face. She's a face.
She is a face. She's a face. The way she's talking and the way she's on the stick and everything, she has a little. It's not this like ice cold arrogance, cold hearted bitch, right? But also you know she has that, and when she's talking, it's like I could easily go into that, but I'm doing this.
I think there's any.
I'm actually for that, and I never thought I would say that.
Never thought I would.
Never say never. Which is why you never say never in wrestling.
Absolutely. I do wonder if it was a bit coincidental that they just had that Peacock thing on Ric Flair, the Woo documentary, and then like a week later, like she wins. I don't know.
No, it's very well timed.
Very well timed. Well, whose turn was it? Because I did the Willow thing, right? So I think it would probably be just Duncan's.
I think you maybe organically got there because you.
Yeah, but that. Yeah. But So it would be Duncan's last one. He says that Tony Khan buys Impact Wrestling, which I think you even said that prediction-wise, you don't think the Impact will be around by the end of the year, right? Wasn't that something else that you kind of...
I said TNA.
TNA. Well, TNA's gone, so I don't think you have to worry about TNA.
Oh.
Impact is TNA.
I guess, yeah. So...
I mean, I don't think NWA is going to be around by maybe the end of the year. Like, I feel like that's going to die another slow death, but...
Oh. All right. So I'm thinking Tony's going to do something with Ring of Honor and Impact. Bring them together.
I mean, that would make sense with what Duncan's prediction is, like TK buying Impact. I actually think that would be genius if they were to include Impact is part of Honor Club, and then you have like the weekly.
I think it 100% has to be. I think if you don't do that, then it has to be something completely different than what we talked about earlier on this podcast, which is AEW and New Japan.
Right.
It's like New Japan strong.
Yeah.
Becomes Ring of Honor. That's it.
I think you're probably right. I think that's. Or you sort of have maybe Ring of Honor as this catch-all that can do a little, like, that can work with, like, multiple promotions. Like, they can work with, maybe they...
Like, can it when you're, like, owned by all these conglomerates?
But AEW isn't, right? So, like, and Ring of Honor isn't.
They are not, but they're tied into contracts with companies that have contracts with advertisers.
I don't think that matters. I think where it would matter is whoever like because I think it's Anthem that owns Impact, so they would have to be cool with it. Then you've got Jushi Road owning New Japan, Bushi Road rather owning New Japan. So it would have to be like they would have to be cool with it. But
Jushi, company I work for.
Yeah, I meant Bushi, like the bush, like the bush,
Bushi, like a Bushi,
like a bush. But no, I think more than likely, I'm mixed on if I want it to happen. As far as because I feel like Impact is.
Let's be honest. Let me ask you this: how often are you watching Impact?
Very rarely, and it's only when
How often are you watching Ring of Honor?
Only on the pay-per-views, because that's all there is to watch. Right.
So.
If I had a weekly TV show of Ring of Honor, I might.
Let's say, hypothetically, you combine the two rosters.
Right.
And there may or may not be a crossover with New Japan Strong and AEW Rampage?
I think you keep the Rampage one out of it.
Dark?
I think Dark feeds all of them, right? I think that's the idea, but I like the idea. I like the idea.
But people are paying $9.99 for Honor
Right.
Club.
Right.
Granted, so there has to be a focus and an incentive.
If you were able to do something where I got, like all of the Ring of Honor pay-per-views, all of the Impact pay-per-views, a weekly television show for both, and it was $9.99. I think you have something a little bit more.
Never gonna work, because we complain about AEW, Rampage, and Dark and tying into being the elite. No way when you get down that chain, because we're already below WWE, SmackDown, fucking all the whatever the fuck else they have. You're on a lower tier. Monetarily, it's not.
They have to do something with Ring of Honor and Honor Club, because as of right now,
New Japan strong.
Well, it's all you get is basically back catalogs and an upcoming weekly TV show.
Well,
they've even said that
that's what I'm saying. WWE owns some TNA shit, don't they?
No.
Do they not?
WWE?
Yeah.
They don't own any TNA stuff.
They don't?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Well, I am mistaken then. So,
they have licensed they have licensed in the past little bits of footage, and like they even had Dixie Carter on one of the documentaries, like about somebody at some point. But no, they don't.
Okay. I thought
they don't own any catalog or anything.
A certain.
I don't think so.
Time period. Like it's not anything after a certain point. But
I don't think so.
I don't know. I'm definitely willing to be completely wrong. I'm probably making that up. I'm stoned. Sorry. But going on with that, I will say that, but wouldn't you think that, like, if you're doing a Ring of Honor, you would need something like New Japan Strong, tie that in, because that's already over in the US, not huge, right? Kind of tie that in. That also,
it would also fit with Ring of Honor and its whole aesthetic, like
100%. It also kind of fucks with what we were talking about earlier, the fact that WWE might do certain things because of Shinsuke Nakamura. We were talking about that earlier, right?
Right.
Like it opens up this possibility, even though that was Noah. I understand that, but I'm just saying, like, you're opening territories, or at least conversations to that. But I think if you did a New Japan Strong in the States with a Ring of Honor, that's a better sell.
I think so.
I think what they're doing right now with Kenny and Osprey, and I think whatever Mercedes, I forget, it's
whatever her name is,
Veneo, whatever the fuck it is.
She's Monet Banks is what she trademarked.
Oh yeah,
so
Monet.
That's probably what she's gonna go by, Monet
whatever
Banks.
It is. Yeah, I don't hate it, but I think it's something like that. There is this other opportunity, and I think that what we've seen already with AEW, I think that's what's different. There's all these people that compare it, and fucking you will listen to and read probably all of this. Also, this is all just my opinion, but you get the Bischoffs, you get the fucking Russos, you go blah 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 WCW and blah blah. Okay, get it, but like, this doesn't have to be WCW because we live in a very different world than when that was happening. And there's a lot different access to so many different people on so many different platforms, and people like so many different things about something. They might not like a wrestling match, but they might like a wrestler, right? Like there are so many things that you can tie into this now that you never could before. So I think it's very short-sighted of those people, and I know that's what they know, and they were very successful in that, and I will never discount that.
It's different. It's just a different world.
It's generational. There are other things that happen, and you can build on that, and I think that's what we're seeing. So AEW had to be created as this. They're being compared to WCW. which in certain senses, sure, yeah, and I'm sure they played out of their playbook, but they are kind of a different thing in the way they have access to fans and the way they're doing things. Also, in the way that ratings are taken, because people aren't watching, commercial TV or fucking local TV as much. So they're streaming and such. But they've also now created this other way and openness, or at least an ability to, because WWE was never doing that in the past. Maybe they never had the means, because that's what I'm talking about. But like, you can now do this, and now the individuals that we've always said are like independent contractors, and that's always going to be a thing that we should think about. But they're now like using that to their advantage and creating like other sectors and segments of like this whole wrestling universe and system, which is helping the promotion.
Well, it's helping everybody.
It's fucking cool.
Yeah, it's absolutely, it's very cool, and it opens up the world, greatly. I think that the WWE needs to get away from the mindset of everything being, not letting any one star be bigger than the brand itself of WWE. If they can get away from that and back to the old days where Hulk Hogan was bigger than the WWF, and where The Rock and Stone Cold, even at times, of course, bigger than the organization itself, put that power back into the hands of the talent, and the talent will end up rewarding you, because it's going to always come up in promotional interviews for whatever movie they're doing, or what's it like transitioning from WWE to blah, 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 right? Like, it's an obvious, it's a misstep on their part in like a promotions way. You want those people to get so big that they are looked at as former WWE superstar.
Dude,
Dwayne The Rock Johnson,
like a general
doing
in the
this.
army. You got that fucking pin or whatever.
It's absolutely, it's that way. Let's wrap this up. We've got one more each. What's your last one here, bud?
Shit, can I give you two?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. It doesn't have to be one, but we just,
all right,
whatever you got there.
One, Booker T fights Tony Khan.
Okay, don't think that one's gonna happen, but I want to see it. All kidding aside, Booker T has been wrestling a lot. I know he has a wrestling school.
Yeah,
and that motherfucker's gonna be in the Rumble.
Yeah,
that motherfucker's gonna be in the Rumble.
God, the other one is. All right, shoot two in there. Cody wins the title, and Jim Cornette has a heart attack but survives.
Okay. Corny is having a heart attack as we speak, because he has one about every 8 minutes, I think.
No, he's going to have a real heart attack.
He's going to have a real one.
I'm not wishing this to happen, because I've actually been thinking about my own heart a lot.
Yeah.
Like, very concerned. Like, not that I do a lot of things that could ever, like, make a heart attack happen, but the other day I was thinking about, like, holy shit, that could happen.
And also with Jim Cornette, it wouldn't be like a terrible surprise.
He gets very stressed out about a lot of things, and that's what I'm thinking. So when I thought about this for my own health, I then thought about that, and I was like, well, I don't wish it on him, but I think it might happen.
Okay, you're probably right about that one, and you're probably right about the second one or the whatever way around you did it. Cody winning a world title, the world title. Like it's. I don't know that it's at Mania like we talked about earlier, but it happens in 2023. It does. Yeah. It absolutely. And I think he probably closes out the year as champion.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's. I still don't know what they're thinking with like splitting those belts or not splitting those belts or however that works. I think Cody, when he wins it, should be winning both.
With what we talked about, if Roman walks out of Mania with both of them earlier, that new rumor, which is he'll walk out.
Yeah.
Cody beats him for both after.
That's what I think needs to happen.
Because you need to build someone bigger than Roman. And how do you do that?
You have to drop both the belts, because otherwise it looks like, you did that, but you didn't do both.
You have to have someone take you.
Yeah. I think that's 100% correct. I think that you're probably right.
And use Mania both nights to build up Roman's strength even more.
Also, I think it would be the perfect way to unify those two belts rather than split them, completely unify them under Cody. Because like as a face, all right, so as a heel, you want the look of two belts. I've got two, right? Like it's kind of just kind of heel, even almost mentality. But as a face, what you want to consolidate those two things. You want it to just be the one prize, right?
Yeah.
And then that would be a great way.
You're also not like lifting them up all the time. Like you're like
it's a little more
like,
face to just have one
around the waist. Like you got something on your robe. Like you
also
shows, but you're not like throwing it in our faces.
And if Cody really does want to bring a new version of the Winged Eagle back and unify the belts under a new design.
What a better way.
What a better way to do it.
What a better way.
Exactly. My last two. It's supposed to be one, but it is two.
Yeah, no, I did too. So
Braun Strowman will be released again from WWE.
Yes. All right. Yep.
I think
dude. All right. I hope they call it control your own narrative too.
Yeah, it never stopped. It's technically still a thing. So
yeah, but no one talks about it.
No, I think that's done. So I just don't see him as being like a big enough draw, a guy that they can really rely on in the way that they thought he would. I think he's overrated, and then like I just think he might be a little too troublesome for the office to deal with when it comes to Twitter. It's like, all right, dude, like
but he's
not
also
worth
like
the money.
not good to the boys.
That's what it seems like.
The girls or them, like whatever, like anyone in the back, any of the workers.
And then something that I think is a lot more controversial, and with this, so it's largely assumed, I think, by most AEW fans that MJF's reign of terror will be very long, and he will hold the belts through the next year as part 2 of the bidding war of 2024. I, however, look at it completely different. The way I have it written is that MJF will not hold the title at the year's end. Think that he actually is going to lose it and win it back probably twice within this year. And I'll tell you why I think it's a better story, because I think when we're getting up to the bidding war of 2024 and negotiation times and stuff like that,
title reigns,
I think that it would add a lot of speculation if he is champion, and right before that he loses them. I think that would fire up the internet. People would be talking. That would get the story moving. That would be a way to create more drama out of the bidding war of 2024, which I do think I think he stays in AEW, but I think that's I think it's a given to me, but I think that's part of the plan. I think that's part of the way they do it. I also just see two people that can have short, very deserved reigns in this time. The first, this is a chance to get a belt on Eddie Kingston for 1 month as your world champion. And MJF will get it back from him in some shitty way that he will do. But then the real person to take it from him will have to, I think you've got a way to, you can do if you want to do another one, you got Wardlow, right? You've always got Wardlow behind with MJF. I think there's another one. And then you've got Ricky Starks.
But does Kingston win it clean?
No.
Okay.
I think it's okay if he doesn't. I think it's okay if he doesn't too.
Also, I like everything that you said, but how long do you think it is? Because we talked a lot about this guy and another guy for a while, and like what a series and such. When do you think, what year do you think we get MJF versus Osprey? That'd be a good match.
Not this year.
No.
Not this year, probably 2025 or maybe 2025, something like that. I think there's a lot of other matches that will.
No, but think about salt and peppering and like marinating both of them.
Oh, MJF's 100% distaste for anything Japanese wrestling. He absolutely always says he hates it.
Both of them, and think about what we talked about in the podcast earlier tonight, like what he was cutting at the press conference earlier with Kenny.
Yeah.
Think about when he has a few more years and all of these other experiences and such, him and MJF going toe to toe, and then in the ring, which we know Osprey can, we know MJF can. They're both very good and technical, but like Osprey goes and goes and goes, and then you have someone who kind of sits in the pocket but can go when he needs to. Imagine that type of match.
It definitely seems like it can be a good styles
2025
clash.
World Title Championship match. I don't care what promotion.
Dude, I've got to pee and I gotta get running. So that's probably going to be it for the evening. We thank you, though, for joining us for another edition of the Ohno Wrestling Podcast. It's always a blast having you. And, oh, did I lose that? Oh, wow. I lost my outro music. I lost my outro music. What happened to you?
Oh, shit.
We'll figure it out here in a second. Hang on. Try and get that worked out. If not, I'll cut it in post.
We'll
you know how we do. Fix it in post. That being said, yes, thank you once again for joining us. Join us at OhnoWrestling.com if you want to find our podcast, or anywhere you find your podcast. Just type in Ohno Wrestling. You'll find it pop up there. Facebook.com/group/Ohno Wrestling. Twitch.tv/ONRS Live. That ONRS, of course, stands for our brother show, our cousin show, Ohno Radio Show. Find that at OhnoRadioShow.com.
Love it.
Patreon.com/ONRS. And Matthew, what do we say when we get out of here, buddy? Woo!